Welcome to the Wednesday evening edition of Outlaw Radio. My name is Kevin Barnes. I am the host of Outlaw Radio, the militant with a microphone, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer, also known in some circles as the world class smartass. How you doing? 414 against everybody. Stand up, be accounted for, right? Let it be known. Outlaw Radio, decisions is the theme of the show tonight. Uh why? Look at everything that's going on. But it's a very important question that extends itself on multiple levels. Decisions. We're going to talk about that. This is what we do on Wednesdays and Mondays, or Mondays and Wednesdays, whatever your rhythm is, from 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time until whenever we choose to cut the machine off. Get everybody in, let them know Outlaw Radio's on the air. Share the show. This is all we ask. We just want people in Milwaukee in the 414 to be heard and accounted for. Milwaukee has been active for a very long time. It's always funny to me that even some people from here don't appreciate the place where they're from. I've been called several different things because I've always been the type of person that says I'm a proud man of color, and I'm a proud black man from the north side of Milwaukee. I have no issues with it. I have no qualms with it. Are we Chicago? No. Chicago is Chicago. Are we Detroit? No. Detroit's Detroit. Are we New York? No. New York is New York, and so on and so on and so forth. You have to understand that there are certain things that separate you from everybody else. It might be where you're from. It might be what you know. It might be how you look. It might be how you move. But you should always be very, very happy and own your uniqueness. What makes you different? It makes you an individual. And like I said, I've had a great time in this city. I've had some down times. I've had some bad times. There are some struggles, but I'm very, very, very happy to say that everywhere I've been, I never had to try to fit in. I never had to try to get with other cats. I never had to try to talk their slang, wear their clothing. My Milwaukee perspective has always been very unique and very valued. Like, it's not like anywhere, wherever I went, people wanted to get down with me, right? They wanted to rock Milwaukee shit. So I'm one of them dudes. We've been saying it on Outlaw Radio, 414 versus everybody. And I mean that shit. Like, I don't care where you're from. I'm from Miami. I'm from Arizona. I don't care where you're from. I don't. I'd be more concerned about where you're at mentally. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you can't say, because what I know is there's tough cats from everywhere and there's weak cats from everywhere. You think it ain't no busters in Compton, right? You think it ain't no busters in Chicago or Detroit? And you think it ain't no real ones in all those cities, man. It's the same thing. It's called humanity. Rel, welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight?
Peace, man. I'm good, man. Rested. Got to go into the office all week this week, so man, it's been kind of hectic getting my bearings. But hey, I'm back mobile. I'm rested, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. We had a great show on Monday. It was a great show. I tried to extend an olive branch between two brothers who've had a public beef. You know what I mean? So when I say I'm about solidarity and standing with my fellow brother, man, I'm serious. Like, it doesn't mean I have to agree with everything you say. Like, I'm not.
Right.
I've never been a follower. I have never been a follower. Now, you can ask anybody who knows me. And people say, well, Kev, you got down with this, you got down with that. But whatever I did, I put my own twist on it, right? And I moved how I wanted to move. I'm never accepting of somebody telling me, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that. Man, if you don't get your ass out of my face. Dion's in the chat room. He said, please, no puff talk. We got to talk about the diddler. We got to talk about the diddler. Come on, man. We got to talk about the diddler. How you doing, Dion? We was a little late getting on. It is what it is. Earl Henning, I see you early, said, what to do, my brothers? It's not just milk. Earl is still on the milk, y'all. Earl was on this milk thing like all Monday evening, and I see he's continuing it. Shout out to Earl, man. Y'all share the show, share the show, share the show. Let's get it popping. Let's get some. We got to get some eyes on the show. There is a phone number attached to what we do. It's 262-202-5131. Did I say that too fast? 262-202-5131. The chat room always pops, man. It always pops. So you can get in the chat room too. I see I'm sporting the classic zip up, the Outlaw Radio joint. Got to man, it's custom shit. You can get
There
it.
you go.
Inbox.
Fly.
Inbox me. We got these. We got the classic pullovers. It's about to be t-shirt season. I'm gonna try to get some sun visors or some out here, some summerish
Oh,
add
okay.
to the Outlaw Radio apparel lineup. But yeah, man, this is what we do. We might as well jump into, well, first of all, the show is called Decisions. Okay. And I wanted to put that out there because not only is April 2nd next week and it's time for us to go and voice our opinion in the booth, whether you agree with it or not, I'm not really concerned. I don't know if you're not going to vote, you're not going to vote. I'm not here to turn you out. But if you are, I want you to be informed. I want you to know who you're voting for. I want you to understand that Michael S. Harper is a black man who's running for county comptroller, who's very competent, very intelligent, very capable of the job, regardless of who else is on the ballot. I have voiced my concern about our mayor, and I won't say that I have anything against the mayor personally, but in terms of my community and how he's treated us so far, I'm not a supporter of him. And once again, I don't want to hear about black man, he's a black man, he's a black man. At a certain point, we do get past color. When you are hired to do a job, it comes down to, are you doing it or are you not? And if you're not, and if things aren't trending in the right direction, then we got a decision to make. Thus, the title, Decisions. I see a lot of stuff. And I see, and when I'm looking at social media, when I'm looking at the internet, when I'm reading any kind of news, I do a lot of consumable news. I watch a lot of different programs. I told you I live in the podverse, and a lot of times I see both sides of a story, and I see multiple perspectives, and I hear multiple things. But in my mind, what I'm saying is, make a decision where you're standing at. So I would ask my people out there, what do you believe in? You can't just exist with no direction. You can't be an empty vessel. What do you want? What do you want to do? Decisions. What's at the core of your being? Do you have any integrity? Would you like to get some? Decisions, right? Do you want to be a asset to the community? Or do you want to be a pariah to the community? Because you could do either one. The power is within you. Decisions. You single? You want to be with somebody or not? Decisions. Vince, I got you. Give me a second. I'm just saying it's time for us to make up our minds what we want to do, because we have become very good at talking about any and everything, especially nowadays where we have this, like I say, this new black media. And you hear, we are a lot of times breaking stories before the mainstream news can even touch them. A lot of times they don't even know what's going on. We know what's going on before them. So the thing is, what do you want to do about it? Everybody can talk about the problem. Ask somebody who has a solution. I don't know. Decisions, man. It's where you want to go, right? Like, what do you celebrate? Do we celebrate our community being prosperous, or do we celebrate those who have committed great crimes against us and moved on? Like, you love BMF, don't you? You love Power. You love shows about criminals and criminal empires. And if you grew up in the times that I did, you understood you're celebrating, especially if you're watching BMF, you're celebrating the death and destruction of our community. Because what did they get rich off of? crack cocaine, the epidemic, lives lost, families broken apart, neighborhoods and communities destroyed. Come on, man. What you want to do? Decisions. I'm a fan of gangster rap. Sometimes I used to listen to it and say, damn, do I really want to be a asset to this community, or am I with this gangster shit? Decisions. Let's go. Earl said, any size, whatever your size is, Earl. You got a size and you want apparel, just hit me up and let me know. The larger sizes cost more than the smaller sizes, obviously, because it costs more to purchase the stock, because these are all made in-house. This is all a people's network endeavor. So this is all manufactured, printed, designed right here in the house by my wife and I. So whatever size you got, whatever size you want. I mean, you know, I've made I've made them from small all the way up to, I believe one time I did have a 5X for a certain individual. He never came and got it, but I sold it anyways. But 5X, big, huge too. I said, damn, I should have kept that for myself. Jesse Parrish, shout out to Jesse from Denver, the Mile High Income and Migrant Flooded City. He is the host. He and the Seduction Doll of Frontline Black News, the Revolutionary Agenda, and then Shabaka, who's Shabaka St. Core, who's always on the Black Experience Enhance. He said just stop by to show love. They're going live. Good luck to you all. I hope your show goes well. Earl says, you know, we do have 2% chocolate milk. He won't stop with the milk. He won't stop. It's not stopping. He said they're going on live shortly. Ewok in the building. He said, yo, bro, knowing is half the battle. Well, do we want to know? I feel like black people don't want to know certain things. I feel like the truth makes black people uncomfortable in some aspects, in some regards. I really do. I feel like we ignore things every day that are easily discoverable, right? Like, because to deal with it would require us to speak certain truths to ourselves. That's why I ask my people all the time what y'all want to do. Some of the same motherfuckers who is complaining about shit is partaking in it every night and every day. What you say, can't serve two masters? Is that true? He said, yeah, shout out to the new black media. We control the narrative now. Yeah, but we got to use our powers for good, because some of us are using this shit. And I just look and I see some of us celebrating the destruction of us. Some of us are perpetuating the cycle of ignorance, right? Some of us are doing the same things that they were doing. Then we have some vultures who have kind of jumped into our culture stream as well. And we're giving them access and power. And of course, what they do is they get the money involved. And next thing you know, they own all the shit. Jeff Crape, my brother, he said, what's up, gentlemen? Monday was wow. Monday was a show that was a little bit more personal for me, because I know both of those brothers. And shout out to Orlando Owens and shout out to Ian Jordan. And the way that they were going at it with each other on this social media was just ridiculous, especially in front of Mr. Charlie and all his people. We don't need to do that. If we're going to get at each other, let's get at each other behind closed doors. We don't need them, don't need them jumping in. Dion said America is a criminal enterprise. What's not a criminal enterprise? What country's not a criminal enterprise, Dion? Said Kevin got fat dude tax. I do. Big back tax is what we call it. And anywhere you buy any kind of clothing now, I hope you don't think you don't pay extra when they got to use extra material to make it. You just look at, see, my wife is a business person. Like, when you talk about doing business and numbers, that's what she does. So she goes over profit margins and she weighs out materials versus labor versus markups versus the market. This is what I get. She's a walking spreadsheet. So she's like, no, you have to charge more for larger shirts. And this is why, Kevin. Even the materials that I utilize to do the emblems and this kind of thing, they have to be larger. It costs more for materials. She don't miss a beat, man. She don't miss a beat. Shout out to her, because I was out here just selling them shits. Jeff said, "Love the hoodies, bro. I'm glad you like them. I get a lot of positive feedback. People send me pictures. People post pictures of them in their Outlaw gear, and it's like, damn, that's dope, man. You never know how far some will go. Glad people like the logo. What we got? Dion said, we as a people in this America have no proper. Gotta get that.
Property.
He said, "Is that it? Is that how you feel?" I don't know.
I know. Maybe that's what you're trying to type. Property.
I don't know. I'm gonna read it like you said. I'm Ron Burgundy on this motherfucker. I'm reading the teleprompter. Dion said we have no people in office that can properly represent us and our needs. Well, you don't vote, and you said you don't believe in voting, and you don't believe in the system. Once again, decisions. You just called DC Crowley everything except for a child of God on Monday night, and then said, well, I ain't gonna talk down on black people. I don't know if you know this or not, but he's black people. I fuck with Dion. That's my man. Dion, you can tell he thinks because it's a lot coming out of there, right? It's not like his brain dead. Dion's wheels are turning. Yep. Sometimes I just don't know what direction they're going in. Jeff said, Kevin said he can use my hoodie as a boat sail. Hey, you said that. I'm a big back myself. I'm a big back veteran. Proud of it, man. I've been watching this show. And it's crazy because this is a sidebar. For years, I watched these like vignettes or episodes and series on YouTube with Big Ja and Miss Sade and all these people and lesbian home. And now they've made movies out of them. And they're now on Tubi, where like shows, like series. It's dope. I've been watching. I caught the lesbian homie and I caught Cuddle Season. Dope, man. And it's a good look because it ain't not one drug sold, ain't no gun bust. Right? It's about black people and younger black people who are out here that ain't gangbangers and ain't criminals that are trying to make it, and navigate relationships in life. It's dope. It's a dope. Dope, man. It's dope. I like that. I like how they've done it. And they've been self-made for a very long time. So now they've kind of stepped their game up. Have you caught any of this?
I caught a couple of the lesbian homies. She was kind of fine too, but what's funny though is he was like no drugs sold. But every commercial be like a damn Blue Chew Viagra.
Oh yeah.
So drugs ain't sold in the series, but
right. I should have said ain't no crack. Vince, we got to get your camera together, man. Can't see you. You're right though. But it's just like the NFL. They got a drug policy, but goddamn it, Vicodin and all this shit is and beer and this is what you get.
You see how they backdoor it?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to promote
That's such a positive show, not a drug inside. Blue Chews, get your dick up.
Man, 2-3 days. You good for a week, right? You can go all night. Yeah, but look, I mean, somebody got to pay the bills.
Oh right? No, I ain't knocking it. It's just I love how that backdoor shit, like it be like, dog, they be sneaking them in, don't they?
Right. Message. Earl said we out here. Yes, sir, we are. Dion said I can't respect black representation because mostly every black man have endured some type of discrimination, but when they get in office, he left it there. Once again, Dion, until you can start naming specific policies of specific candidates, I feel like you're generalizing. What you're saying is every black elected official is on the take and he has no interest in helping people. And that's not true. We don't believe in the 100% rule. There's nothing 100% true about no group of people on this planet. Believe it or not all black people like fried chicken. How about that? He said, act like the word nigga never existed. Well, I mean, we know it exists because we throw it around. You throw it around, Dion. Come on, the wheels is turning. We trying to get Dion on the road, right? Vince, what it do, man? I ain't got to give you no special introduction. Everybody knows the controversial Mr. Vince Tony, Mr. Troublemaker, right?
Oh my goodness.
The
Can you hear me?
evil genius. What's going on with you, man? How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing okay. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
We're doing well.
Good to see
Welcome
you.
to Outlaw Radio. Decisions. And what I'm asking my people is, what do you want? You want to be in there? Oh, fuck America. Okay, you leaving? You know, this fucked up ass government. I ain't gonna fuck politicians. They gonna do what they do. None of the shit they pass got to do with me. Then you say, why gas so high? Why the taxes so high? Why rent so high? No, you said none of the shit they do has to do anything with you. Right? I mean, you got to make up your mind. Like, right? Some people say, oh man, thank God. And then they turn around and tell you, ain't no Jesus, ain't no God. Decisions. What you want to do, man? You in or out? We want positivity and peace in the community. I love BMF. That's my favorite show. Decisions, man. What do y'all want to do? What do you want to do? Tell us what you want to do. Because we can come up here and just throw problems. It's like a dartboard. Just throw problems all night. Let's say, hey, let's talk about the next problem. Oh, let's talk about the next problem. We be more into, okay, we just discussed the problem. What I want to do. Decisions. It's that simple. Mr. Carter, better late than never. How you doing tonight, my brother?
Hey, man, I'm all right, man. I made it.
Right.
Right. Barely, but you made it. Right.
Hey.
I mean, you know, like they say.
Got a lot. Hey, man, you know, the last couple of weeks, you know, I had to close the store. So, you know what I mean? And we closed at 7, but today I forgot. I didn't forget, but we had a big day today, and I ran out of strawberry tea. I ran out of regular tea. I needed strawberries to make tea for tomorrow, so I had to shoot up the wood. You know what I mean? Hey, man, I got to fit it in when I can fit it in. So when the show over, I'm going to go make said tea so it can be ready tomorrow.
Man, do what you got to do, man. Keep that business going.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't have it, I guarantee you when people come to a House of Vitality and say, I'm looking for some strawberry tea, and you say, I don't have any, they're going to say, see, that's why you can't support black businesses.
You know what I'm talking about, man? Even though I got a slew of other delicious drinks, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I want the one you ain't got none of. Damn, I was just finna buy that.
Right.
That's the one I wanted. That's what they might as well walk up and say, what are you out of? This, that. Ooh,
right.
Damn. That's what I came for. All right, man. See, that's why you can't support black business, right? It's people say, look, you go to Walmart, ain't no telling what you might find, right? We bought fruit and vegetables from Walmart, and multiple stores. You get home, my wife say, damn, this is rotten. You know, I went to McDonald's this morning to get my breakfast. They ain't put no hash brown in my breakfast.
God damn it.
Damn it. That's the highlight of the meal.
Right. You going back tomorrow, though. Well, make sure you got your hash brown tomorrow.
Let's just say I'm not boycotting McDonald's.
Right. I mean, people stay going to Popeyes after they tell you
most horrible service in the world. Popeyes is the most horrible. And I see they caught on Silver Spring. That one's the health department done shut that one down.
I feel dirty every time I return because every time I leave, I'll be like, I swear I ain't coming back to this motherfucker. And then I return back and it's like, look who come crawling back.
Hey, Kev, they're going to have some Krispy Kreme donuts at McDonald's.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Stock went up today.
Man, that's a goddamn big backs home. Like if you like McDonald's will help you get your big backs home. I ain't gonna even lie either. McDonald's burgers taste a little bit better now. For those of us who still consume, I'm like, damn, what they do this quarter pounder? Motherfucker, a little bit more taste.
You showing your ass tonight, Kev.
Come on, son. Like, what we talking about? Shit.
That's a good processed food.
Man.
He's showing his ass tonight,
juicier than ever. I pull up everything. Fish, chicken, burger. Let me get one of them. Right? I ain't saved yet. I'm still trying to. God still. What they say? He still work. He still ain't through with me.
Working on me. He ain't through with me yet.
And so sometimes I be hungry, right? And I will eat some shit that I know is not good for me, but it tastes so good. I mean, fuck it. We all got to die from something. It is what it is. Like I'm gonna be all right. I ain't gonna be laying there saying I wish I had. I'm be like I done had a good life. If I could get a double cheeseburger right now, let me go with that motherfucker in my hand. Earl Henning in the chat room. He says some are whole milk chocolate like Mike McGee, and some 2% chocolate like he called him Chavez Johnson. That's a new name for him. Chavez. Little Mayor Chavez, right? Little buddy named Chavez. That's cold-blooded. Dion said, man, Vince not the hot spot tonight, but how you been?
Hey, it's always the hot spot. You know that.
Yeah, man. He don't want to talk about the diddler. He don't want to talk about the hot spot. Dion, what you we just got to talk about what you want to talk about. What you want to talk about, GD? Like, oh, come on, man. Like, come on. Let's talk about Larry Hoover for 2 hours. I'm cool. Just because someone says fuck America don't mean they have to lead the country. Well, no, you can say whatever you want. But if you're saying fuck America, then that means you're saying I don't fuck with America. See, when I say fuck somebody or something, that means I don't fuck with it, right? Like I'd be like, man, fuck that veggie burger. That means I ain't gonna order it, right? I don't say fuck the veggie burger and then go get one. No offense, Kamara. It was the first thing that came to my head. No offense.
Hey, man. Hey, you just said you ate McDonald's, so I ain't got nothing to say, man.
And see, this is my alternative to get me a bag
that
of
veggie
burger. Look, this is my alternative to get me a bag of pork skins for breakfast. Because normally I'm on the go, I'm on the way to work. I would grab me some pork rinds, some chicharrones, and a nice Diet Pepsi, and that's breakfast. So I said I gotta stop doing that. So I just go get me some sausage and egg and a biscuit from McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Decisions, man. You got to choose. He said, let me get to this, and then I want to get to Vince, but I do want to talk about the diddler. I believe collectively we don't have an agenda for us all to agree on. We're lost, and we won't be able to find common ground, especially if we ain't looking for it. Especially if you damn sure ain't it's not gonna fall on your head. I want people to stop thinking this agenda will magically assemble itself. It's going to take a lot of us to stop with this fuck everything attitude. Because, man, fuck that. Yeah, man, I don't fuck with this. I don't do that. Okay. But then you see somebody doing something, the first thing you do is down them. Not you, Dion, but there's individuals who this is their shtick.
Hey, I love to see people start talking about what they love instead of fuck this, fuck that. I love this. I love that. How about that? That's
why you heard me talk about that burger.
Hey, man. Hey, you see, that's what I'm talking about. You love that McDonald's burger. You know what I mean?
Not just McDonald's, Wendy's, Culver's, Tops, shit, my grill, a Steelers.
Wherever the drive-through line short at,
I might wait. Fuck around shit like that. Oh, I got time. I got time today. Fuck the bullshit. Wait till the summer. My grill stay lit. I know my neighbors be like, damn this dude. Man, and I keep pork on that motherfucker. 2 ribs, rib tips, pork tenderloin. Man, my wife don't eat no beef, chicken, nothing like that. Me and my son and my daughter take it down. He be like, Pop, throw the steak on there. You ain't said nothing but a word, son. He gets it in, man. Come on, you remember before you was enlightened how good that food used to be.
Yeah.
It
still smell good. I just know better.
Yeah. Y'all better come on in. I'm trying to tell you. I don't get to do it like I want to, because like I can't even hardly get fried chicken, right? Like my wife be tripping. Like, I just bake it. I don't want. Let me fry it. If I be like, I cook that chicken, she'd be like, no, I'm good, because she know I'm dropping hot oil all over the house. Just man, and we'll fry some fries to go with it, man. Gotta enjoy yourself, man. That's what my doctor told me. He said, let me see. Before I get to like I said, I want to talk about the diddler. Because we got more facts on him. Jesse is speaking to, he said, what's up, Vince and Kamar?
What's
said
the diddler?
Kamar's detox after McDonald's. Don't eat that shit. I tend to detox fine after I eat McDonald's. I tend to be able to get rid of everything. I don't. I mean, quickly.
Taco Bell.
On a bad day, you feel me? On a bad day, like
hey, Taco Bell is a cleanser.
Hey, man, shit. Get you a double Whopper with cheese and drink a milkshake with it.
Colon cleanse.
Right, there will be nothing left in your intestines in 2 hours. You like, oh, I feel so light. He said he don't. He said he ain't ate no McDonald's in 20 years. Well, God damn it, congratulations. But see, it would be cool if I hadn't heard you talk about going to get pizza puffs and all kinds of wild shit that you be going to the little Arab fry bins for, Dion. Don't try to play high post on me now. Like you ain't over there reading the Muhammad's book talking about how to eat to live. Like I wouldn't got me a gyro. We don't know what the fuck that meat is made out of. That's lamb and beef. You know, that shit be on that burner for 3 months. And they be just,
everybody different, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got, I never eat that type of thing, but then to go eat some other bullshit somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you got people who ain't gonna eat no seeded watermelon, but then you'll see them getting Debbie cakes and shit.
Or drinking some coffee.
You know what I'm saying? Like
go to Starbucks, right? Get you a cup full of sugar and caffeine. Right. And you walk around trying to judge somebody. Slap that goddamn cup out your hand. If I can't have my
everybody got their thing, you know.
All right. He said Kev hungry. Nah, I'm cool. Because I ate a good cousin sub. I forgot them too. I forgot. I will get a hero sandwich because it makes me feel heroic. I ain't 2 piece and a biscuit. So check this out. So we got more information on what happened to Diddy. And for me, I kind of categorize news because we have things that are pertinent and important, which is why we have my brother Vince here, which is why we extend the conversation to health and wellness with Kamar. We talk about all different kinds of phases and parts of shadow work with Rel. Then there's certain things that are like, disposable media and things that are meant to distract us, like entertainment stuff and trends and fads. But I don't want to dismiss what's going on with Sean Diddler Combs right now is just a distraction. Jeez. Because first of all, if there's a sex trafficking, if there's any truth to this, any truth, I don't care if he just did it one time.
Right.
He needs to be disposed of immediately. Right. And especially if it was an underage girl. All the gay stuff and all of, they said now we can't say pause or no homo no more. We got to say no Diddy now. Right. And so the Diddler is running his course through what happens to a black man who gets to a certain point by questionable means. And then he comes tumbling down. Right. And the same people you stepped on the way up, you fall past them on your way back to the bottom. So if this stuff is false, if this is a witch hunt, because I look at a lot of places and a lot of things that have been done. I mean, Trump sent a bunch of white people to the Capitol. They didn't go after him like this, right? And they had Epstein and all these people, Weinstein. Did they raid their mansions like this? I mean, is this his sons who are Cosby kids? You got them handcuffed. I understand the procedure. What they just did, like his lawyer was right when they said this was a show of military force. In Miami, they came from the water, the air, and was at the front gate for an allegation of sex trafficking. Or is there more there? This was Homeland Security who went.
Well, hey, kid, they tell you when the feds get involved, man, when the feds come get you, they got their case pretty much set. They know already what's going on.
They say that. Kamar. And I've seen somebody make a point that at this point they had like a 99.9%.
I was just going to say how many motherfuckers that got off.
Only Irv Gotti as the only one in hip hop that I've seen really be able to, And so,
hey, but we don't know what he done told on either.
Don't know. You don't know. Now you
like
know.
I said, when the feds come, they got you.
Usually, especially if they come to your house in Cali and Florida at the same time.
Yeah,
and
they done did years of research.
The case comes out of New York.
Yeah, they done did years of research.
Yeah, already. Yeah. And once again, decisions like if you choose to live your life a certain way, right, with all of the wild shit, Puffy. Now it's funny to me that celebrities who I know every year was continuously partying with Puffy, they're all backpedaling now, and some of them are saying, well, I used to leave early, or I never seen him. Yeah, your ass left early, right? Like, yeah, okay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, whatever's there, it's like the Bill Cosby thing. because black people was in a flux about, was this wrong? Were they out of order? You know, if he did it 40 years ago, oh, it was the 70s. Everybody was popping Quaaludes and all this. My thing was, if he was the type of person that would drug a woman and take advantage of them then, he is still a threat to the community now to do that. See what I'm saying? So he should have been removed. He tried to buy NBC. I ain't heard nobody say Puff is trying to buy NBC. What's going on? Where the tinfoil hats at? What's the conspiracy?
He already had Revolt. He ain't need to.
He sold all his shares in Revolt. And they said,
I know he sold it now.
Yeah, he got rid of all that. Puff said, shit, I need bread.
Yeah, he sold it now that he under the heat, but
yeah.
You know, like I say, I think the feds been knew something, but it may be something somewhere, you know what I mean, where they like, hold on, we gonna take this nigga out, man. He knows.
Yeah, he must didn't pay his membership fee or something, like, because the fans, they always know what the fuck you doing.
Yeah,
they just don't play that card until it's beneficial, if it's a political year or some shit like that. So maybe the wrong people needed him to sit down, and now they move, because I mean, we still ain't fully heard anything about the Epstein list or shit like that.
Right. He may be on there.
Know what I'm saying? So it's not like
be high on that list.
Right. It's not like probably small fish to fry when there's a whole island of motherfuckers that's doing stuff.
And the guest list is ridiculous.
Hey, and then you also this too, you know, sex trafficking is basically having sex with somebody in one state and having sex with them in another state. And you know what I mean? Like that, it can be just as simple as that.
Yeah, it's always that's what I was watching Pimp and Ken on a podcast, and he was saying they basically pushed that sex trafficking bill through by talking about like underage kidnap victims. He said, but basically he was like, if you take your girl to the strip club to get money, they basically can hit you with sex trafficking.
Yeah, I don't believe Puffy's, the accusations against Puffy are that simplistic, though.
Well, I ain't saying it's that simplistic, but I'm saying like they could have him on just that.
Right, no, I know it's talking about
how the two girls that popped up, the one chick who he just paid off. And you know what I mean? Depending on what they got to say, you know what I mean? It could be just that to be the sex trafficking.
But more specific to his case,
it ain't deeper.
More specifically to his case is there's obviously a nationwide, probably global ring of individuals, if you have a certain amount of money and power, that you can call that will supply young bodies for you. Like if you say, hey, I got so and so over here and he like 12-year-olds. These people can bring a 12-year-old, and this is a real network. And but the thing is, they want to look and see, because outside of what Cassie said about all the freak shit, I think when she started to implicate that he was getting these male prostitutes, where you getting them from? You ain't going on the corner to get them. You're making a call. Hey, I need 2 large pizzas and 2 orders of wings, right? Pepperoni and sausage puff, extra sausage, right?
I said cheese, extra cheese, motherfucker.
Right. I don't want those. So what kind of cheese you want? Give me cheddar, right? Like there's a whole code with Pizzagate. I know it's people have, you know, me and Rick Muhammad and myself have had back and forth crazy debates about Pizzagate.
It sounds like it too.
Yeah, and that's why I just kind of threw that in the mix. I'm learning from other people that when in doubt, just throw some shit in there, right? Like,
hey, you hit a home run, boss.
Right. Outlaw Radio ain't in it, just throw them in the shit. Earl Henning said he said some weird ass shit about being freaky. Listen, being a freak is one thing. And the internet shows you that there are some people in America who have some crazy sexual fetishes. I mean, let's be honest. Like a lot of the people who are, you know, critical and really, really, really just kind of like anti-sexual and all this in public, if you were to look behind their curtains, you would probably say, wow, just what this motherfucker does.
We're such a
prudes,
over-sexed yet sexually repressed culture or society that anything you repress still expresses itself. It just expresses itself possibly in an unhealthy way. So because sex is everywhere, but sex is still so taboo, people bottle that shit up and it gets twisted and crazy to the point where if you go on any site, first thing on the first page is either going to be incest themed or infidelity themed because we've made sex such a taboo, nasty thing that some people can't enjoy it unless it's taboo and nasty.
Hey, I mean, I just say people are freaky. I mean, I'm old enough to have heard some crazy shit in my life and seen no Diddy, but I've lived long enough to say, wow, oh shit, that's crazy that's what they and have heard people say, nah, man, I like mustard. Like, really? It's everywhere? It's like, oh, that's nasty. Dion said Roland Martin said that's false about him selling Revolt. Okay, that's news to me because I don't watch Roland Martin. Like I walked away from Roland Martin years ago. I just couldn't. He said plus Bill Cosby was doing ugly white milk. Well, no, they wasn't all white. Because I do believe the young sister from the University Temple, she was black. I think at least one of his victims from Temple. Dion said I stay sex trafficking because I go to Chicago every weekend and to get sex. I don't know if you want to tell people that, Dion, but unless you're purchasing her to come across state lines, you just go over there because you know a girl and you go over there and have sex with her. I don't know that that's sex trafficking. Unless you selling yourself to her. Maybe you trafficking yourself. I don't know your business, Dion. Business. I don't know. He said this is early. He said they want some baby cheese, right? The adrenochrome. Like if people don't know about the adrenochrome, I believe I'm saying it correctly. Like this is more merit to this than people would think, right? Like there's
enlighten me.
The adrenochrome is that's more conspiracy thing, but I guess it hasn't been proven, but they do make health and beauty products out of baby foreskin that a lot of or that at least I seen Sandra Bullock on a show talking about it. It was a facial cream that I guess they make out of baby
facial
foreskin.
cream. Y'all women gonna learn about wiping everything on your face. Talking about you getting a facial. Adrenochrome is the adrenaline from children. Right?
After they've been scared and tortured, and it supposedly fills their blood up with adrenaline, and then they're dispatched, and the blood still contains the adrenaline, which is some sort of high-end drug, supposedly.
I thought it was supposed to be like age-defying, and
I mean that too,
right.
but it's a drug. But then also they use it as like But there are now articles about people getting blood transfusions from younger adults, and they say that it helps them feel younger and more vibrant.
Hey, once again, it's all alleged, but look into it. A lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Like if we'd just really looked into syphilis, a lot like back in the days, we would have caught the Tuskegee experiments before like, man, where's all this damn syphilis coming from?
Or even the Guatemalan experiments, because they did it to Guatemala too.
There you go.
Plenty women sterile because of those experiments.
I don't know how to say this name, Vince. He said, peace and love, brother Vince.
Khalif.
Okay. I'm sorry, because I usually see Khalif spelled differently. Khalif Wab L.
Yep.
Okay. Welcome to the show, my brother. Welcome to the show.
Peace.
So we'll talk about the diddler as we go along. Right? We'll talk about the diddler. It is decisions. And my brother Vince wanted to come on tonight to talk about some of the things he's been, because we've said we want to say no to this referendum, and we've given a million reasons why. And I'm not gonna say Outlaw Radio was the first little ones to talk about it, but we kind of were. I read that list off last week about these half vacant buildings, added to the fact that there's a truancy rate too, and then I start seeing this everywhere. I sent it to a couple people. Hey man, it's all good when the people can learn, but I'm just saying this is something we've been on. So Vince, what's popping with you? What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I think in reference to that, I think over the last couple of weeks they've been having an awfully lot of meetings about this, and one of the things that I've noticed, I talked to my elders, and my elders been getting this stuff in the mail. And kind of a sidebar, one of my elders, I talked to her last, and she said she got this thing in the mail, say vote yes for the referendum. Or what is this? So I explained to her what it is, because she's retired, she's on a fixed income, and she owns her home. Say, well, here's what's going to happen. There's going to be about an extra $30 a month coming out of your paycheck to pay for this referendum. And she's already on a fixed income, and that means her taxes are going to go up. We know what inflation is like right now. We know gas prices are going through the roof. I talked to another one of my elders, and both of these ladies are in their 80s. And she says that I explained it to her, but she said that she voted early and she voted yes for it. So I don't think we are informing our elders of what's going on to the extent they can make a good decision about their future financially, because $39 a month with inflation right now extra is a bit much. And the other thing is it necessary. So there's a lot of meetings going on to say yes or no. They brought I think what's his name, Mandela. They brought him out of the archives for him to go for it. So I say no. It's a long story, but I'm going to tell you my story. I think it goes back to, if we have to look at the whole system, I think what we're not going back to figure out how did we get here in the first place, right? How did our schools become so discombobulated? What was institutionalized that put us in this situation? So what I'll say is that in January, I read an article, and then they were talking about in the local news that North Division, less than 20% of the students at North Division can read at grade level. And you know me, Kev, these are about our kids. So I didn't graduate. I dropped out of North Division and I joined the Navy. And I'll give you the reason I dropped out, because I didn't think that I was getting a quality education. And this is the time of the years the kids are taking their ACT test. So I was taking the ACT as a 17, 18-year-old, and I was the first time in my room with this many Caucasians, right? So I see something on this test, and it's something that I've never seen before. And I said, wow, I spent 18 years of my life in this institution that's supposed to prepare me to compete against my Caucasian counterparts. And here's something on this piece of paper that I'm testing for that I've never seen. It actually was calculus. I dropped out and joined the Navy. But to make a long story short, it was a great school back then. I learned a lot. The only thing that I missed out on was they didn't teach us calculus. I can do my algebra and get out of that class and be messing around in the classroom. So I went up, I called North Division. I said, I want to meet with the student council, because I've got some ideas that, might help the kids out in terms of their reading, or I can do some reading coaching or whatever it takes to better our kids. I mean, that's the school that I went to, my alma mater. So I called the school. I got in contact with one of the administrators. We set up a meeting, got to the meeting with him. We had a very candid discussion about the school and what they're going through. And one of the topics of discussion was he, in his interpretation, he was under the impression that they want to close down North Division and at some point in time put Howard Fuller's name on that building. I don't know how true that might be, but he says MPS is never going to let that happen. So we got through that meeting. He invited me to a meeting the next day. He's the community advocate for the school. Derek Schultz is his name. We had a very good conversation. So I went to the meeting the next day with the community people. He had the Milwaukee Urban League was represented, Heart Love Place, the alumni was represented, and then there was a couple that was there that was trying to recruit parents and students over to their programming. But really caught me off kind of early, and then a young lady walks in and she says that she's an alumni from North Division, a representative. And I said, well, what does that mean, a representative of the alumni? Because I guess the alumni person hadn't gotten there yet. And she says, well, I've been authorized to speak on behalf of North Division. And I say, well, if you're not an alumni, how can you do that? She says, well, I went to a school in Chicago that was like North Division. So evidently that gave her credence to be able to speak on behalf of North Division. Yes, she said she was an alumni. The alumni person comes in and she introduces herself. And this is at the time we're telling each other why we're at this meeting. And alumni tells the other person who's a representative to go ahead and speak on behalf of the alumni, and she waved her off. So that went on. Next, it was the Milwaukee Urban League. They say they were there and they were offering like $500 scholarship to the kids. And then Heart Love Place was there. They said they've been, the kids are good kids. They're nice kids, this, that, and the other. And then there's a couple there that said they wanted to be working with kids to be able to bring them to their facility on 27th and Hope for some programming. And I said, well, the reason that I'm here is because I hear the reading levels are so low. So what can we do? I brought some ideas. But what really caught me off guard is not that day, but the next day I go up to the school. Actually, I went down to the school board to try to get registered as a volunteer at that school, North Division, what's the other, Keefe Avenue Street School, and Golden My Year. I have a mentee this 10-year-old mentee that goes to Golden My Year. So I wanted to have access to those 3 schools, and King, 4. So I come into school the next day, I walk in and there's a teacher. I follow the teacher up to the classroom. When we sit there, it is about 8 o'clock. And I'm like, where the kids at? I'm looking around and he said, well, they should be stumbling in about 8:30. I said, well, doesn't school start at 8 o'clock? He says, yes. Kevin, I'm the only student in the class. About 8:45, a young lady walks in. She grabs a notebook and they're working on resumes. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but then probably 15 minutes later, another student walks in and she grabs her notebook and they're doing resumes, and she doesn't want to put her name on her phone number on the resume. So they're kind of debating about that. And then 15 minutes later, another student walks in, a boy, and he stays in there for about maybe 5 minutes, and he gets up and he walks out. So the whole time I'm there's only 2 students in this classroom. And I talked to the instructor, the teacher. I said, well, what's going on? He says, well, they get at their school, if they suspend one person from fighting, they get 5 other students from other schools throughout the district to their school for fighting. So I said, what you got here is a fighting school then.
You mean expelled? If they expelled.
If they get expelled for fighting or whatever, they 5, North Division will send 1, they get 5, is what he's telling me. And he said that he can look on his roster every day and he can have a different student from a different school on his roster. He don't know who his students are any day of the week. I'm like, this is crazy. So a few days, I called the NAACP and I scheduled a meeting with the president, Mr. Nichols, and I go down and I explain to him what's happening at the school and the fact that, there's this referendum. And long story short, with that conversation, he basically said that the state has money, plenty of money, over $1 billion in the slush fund. I've heard numbers that they could be distributing for MPS, if you will. He says the thing that has to take place is that the city and the county knows about this. He said the mayor and the county executive, Cavalier and Crowley, simply has to sue the state to get the money. So I don't know why they're not suing the state. So instead of suing the state to get the money that they need to run these institutions, they said they resorted to a referendum to see if we want to pay for it, taxpayers. So after that, I went to another school. I met a teacher. Her and I had worked together at when I worked for Child Protective Service. She worked for delinquency, and she was teaching at Keefe Avenue Street School. And this really caught me off guard. I go to the school. It's chaotic. This, that, and the other. Her class her class was very structured, and the kids seemed to be acting pretty decently, although she did have to call a parent, and the parent told the kid he had to get in line. So I went to a different class. There's a Caucasian lady that's in that class. The class is very chaotic. Kids are all over the place. They're not listening, and she has zero control over this class. I go to another class. There's a foreign student there, and he's teaching. I mean, we're talking Keefe Avenue grade school. We're talking 7 to whatever, 10, 13-year-olds. I can't understand what he's saying, Kevin. And he's trying to teach our children. Now, I'm observing these kids. These kids cannot read. They can't write. Some of them are writing their numbers backwards. And this is what we're dealing with in our school system. And Like North Division, that school also gets bad kids from other schools. One thing that caught me off guard, they've got some Caucasian women, about 5 Caucasian women at the school that were able to go to different classes, pull kids out of the class to take them to the library and tutor them. Well, in this particular class, I observed the lady come up to the classroom. She tells the teacher, I'm taking X amount of students. The teacher says, I'm working with these kids. The lady tells her, well, really, basically, she gets an attitude. Caucasian lady with a sister gets an attitude, say, well, I basically don't care what you say. We're taking these kids. And the lady said, well, go get the principal. She gets the principal. He's a Hispanic guy. I think he either Hispanic or Asian. He comes to the classroom. He tells the teacher, Miss So-and-so, they can take these kids. Took the kids to the library. I went into the office and talked to the principal. I said, what's going on here? And I actually had done some research on the school system in terms of superintendents. I found, Evers was a superintendent of Wisconsin for a number of years. Fuller was a superintendent for a number of years. Now we've got Posley as a superintendent. So we've got all of these people that are in our business. Yet we've got these institutions that are supposedly teaching our kids, and our kids aren't learning anything. And also at Keefe Avenue Street School, they had a young lady there. I think she was 21 years old. She said she was taking a sabbatical, evidently a parallel to be able to help the students out. And I don't know if she was able to do that because the class that she was in was a Caucasian ladies class, and it was chaotic and out of order. So,
okay. So let me say this. First of all, Mac Moan is in the chat room. He said, peace to my big brother Vince. I'm in support from Ice Moan. Said, wow. I really want to take some time because I want to talk about North Division. I wanted to say rest in peace to my brother Keith Carrington, who was the principal at North Division, and he passed away a couple years ago. I actually, through Employ Milwaukee, was the career coordinator at North Division 1 year. And what I did was I can't remember the brother who owns the McDonald's. He's a pastor, he's a preacher, he has a large church. He owns all these McDonald's, so he offered subsidized employment for kids. And so I was running that program. So I went in there, had about 85 children in the school who were working at McDonald's. They was making, I don't know, $7-8 an hour. This was some years ago. But it was amazing to see how those students' ability to be able to go and make money for themselves change their perspective and their attitudes in regards to, because I would tell them, if I hear about you clowning in this school, I'm taking you out this program. And it was also amazing how some of the parents started to come in saying, I'm here to pick up so-and-so's check. And I'm like, nah, I can't give you his or her paycheck. Well, I ain't every time you give it to her, she been spent it before she even get to the house. Right? Because the kid's like, I know my mama gonna take this check. So before I even get to the crib, I'm gonna go downtown because we right here or wherever to the mall. I'm gonna get my shoes. I'm gonna get whatever I want, and then I'm gonna come back and she's gonna take the rest. So my whole point is that the poverty in 53206 is real. And what North Division has is a bunch of kids from 53206. Okay. Mr. Carrington was an extreme advocate for these kids. He loved the community. He loved the school so much, they actually moved there. Like he and his wife, who's the principal at King, they were both principals. So that means they had some money. They chose to build a house down there and live in that community. So I just think I feel like I knew when I heard that Mr. Carrington had passed, North would kind of be just kind of drifting. And I knew it would take them a while to get back to where they should be because he was struggling to hold it together. Vince, all the stuff you're talking about at North Division, I know is true because, like I said, I worked in the building. I had an office there. And so I would walk around to get kids to, do stuff. Hey, you got to fill out your paper for your work permit or whatever. I went in some classrooms. I was like, this ain't school right here. Right? What y'all doing? I'm asking kids, what was y'all doing in that room? Chilling, kicking back. That's what we do in there. And I can tell you that the third floor wasn't being utilized at all. In the basement, wasn't being utilized. They were only using the first and second floor.
Well, Kevin, they when I went up there, they were only using the second floor, and I think I upset the staff there because when I was leaving the classroom, I had enough. I'm like, ain't nobody else coming to this classroom but these two students. So I'm walking down the hallway, and this is where they tell me where all the students are. And I'm looking in these classes, I think 5 or 6 classes, Kevin, and there's nobody in none of these classes. I took pictures and I posted it. So evidently, the staff at the school got pissed off at me. They said I couldn't come back, or I got into a little.
That's nothing new for you, Vince. People tend not to want you around.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, but let me add this though.
This is about our kids, so our kids can't read.
North Division's building is one of the most beautiful buildings in MPS. It is. It's 1978, but that building is a beauty. They have for the nursing program for our young sisters. They have space for all of these classes. They got dental hygienists. I've been all over the building, so I've seen all the facilities that they have, and I'm just like, it's a shame that this is one of the worst schools in the system. And let's not single out North, okay? Because
well, I just told you Keith Avenue.
No, we're talking about Keith Avenue, but we read the list and the capacity on all these buildings, right? And like, because Madison now they put the spotlight on Madison. Building can hold 1,500 people. There's 600 that are in the school, but we know probably only half of that comes. So we talking about 300 kids in a building that's built for 1,500 people. It's impossible to manage those kids because you got so much space for them to just be in, and you only have so many security guards. So yeah, MPS is heavily mismanaged. I'm gonna get to the literacy rate, Vince, because I know you want to talk about it. But this was the wrong time for them to ask us for a $252 million referendum with the tax increase, right? With the Brewers Stadium needing $100 million. We're still paying to get the stadium built, or we just finished. But in my conversation with DC Crowley the other day, he did mention that the state is supposed to fund our schools. And so that's why it's another reason why this referendum should not be on this ballot. This should be, and the state has told you year after year, we got a surplus, we got a surplus, we got a surplus. Fuck y'all do with it? More cows, more prison? What we talking about? More prison?
That's the key right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the literacy rate that you.
Well, let me make one other point that I had concern with the way our kids are being treated as well. And when I was leaving, I stopped in an office. Young lady comes in the office. She's in tears. And mind you, there had been a big fight the day before. There was a fight that day, and this young lady comes in the office, and I go in there. Well, first of all, the student family person greeted me, Kevin. If I was a parent, I think her and I would have been scrapping. That's how rude she was. And I looked over to one of the other administrators. I said, "Is this the way you guys treat people when they come in this building?" And she kind of looked at me and say, "She does." But needless to say, there's a young lady in there. She was crying, and she says that she was in class and some girl was messing with her, and they're getting ready to throw down. And the lady said, "Hey, you got 2 options. One of them, we can call your mother. She can come pick you up, or you can go over there and you can stand over there with the violence-free zone." That's her 2 options. There's no mitigation. There's no intervention or anything. There's just 2 options. Go with your mama, or you go with the violence-free zone, which is ran by running rebels.
Okay. Hands in the pot. Hey, it's Outlaw Radio Decisions on a Wednesday night. We got Vince Tony here. We got the witch doctor in the building. We have my brother Rail, and we are having a conversation. One of the reasons we're decisions tonight is because April 2nd is right around the corner. If you give a shit, you're going to have to go into this booth and make some decisions. And this referendum is key because for all you people, fuck politics, I don't vote shit. When your property taxes go up, because check this out. We know that Mayor Johnson, little buddy, Chavez Johnson, is already riding a wave of gentrification. He just told you in his State of the City speech, he wants to increase the population of Milwaukee. Where do you think he's going to draw those people from? You think he's going state to state selling tourism in for Milwaukee? No. He has the RNC coming here. He's happy about it, right? Who is he trying to draw? Not us. I don't hear any solutions coming from him about what we're going to do about our community, right?
Well, I know for a fact, Kevin, that they've got some companies coming in downtown. They're going to be building some more high rises. We're going to build 40 stories. Now it's going to be higher. So you've got some companies that are coming back, and they're going to be stationed or based downtown. So they're going to continue to build that up, and while we're being neglected in the city.
Well, there's also affordable housing being built in Oak Creek,
Sherwood,
Waukesha. Yes, sir. They afford. You know what affordable housing means?
not in Sherwood. We can't afford them.
Well, you will be able to.
Watch.
You'll see. There's tax credits. The business is good for them. Gentrification is powerful, man. It's coming. And so my point was, they've already been playing with the property tax assessments over the last few years. People have gotten 60-70% increases, right? And like you said, a lot of these are elderly retired people who purchased their home in the 70s when they was working for Alice Chalmers or wherever. They're on a fixed income now, so they won't be able to pay. They ain't paying the 5. So what's gonna happen?
They can lose their homes.
They're gonna have to move. And then these people who living in these high rises downtown can slide on into the neighborhood. So there's not a mission right now to straighten up Milwaukee. There's a mission to eradicate Milwaukee of its problem, which is poor people of color. So when we start talking about this referendum and people who say they don't vote and why, when you say in light of this tax increase and the inflation in this country and this this gentrification mission and this referendum that my property taxes just went up $1,000, then you're gonna be like, what's going on?
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah. Too but late. And getting back to the kids, and that's where my heart goes out to, Kevin, is that we've got kids coming through these systems, this MPS system that can't read or can't write. They can't cursive, they can't do anything. And I just have a huge problem with that. And our prisons, they're building these youth juvenile detention centers in our community. So they're setting us up for the system that they've created within our schools, where our kids aren't educated and they have very few choices in society to be successful. So
Hold on, though.
Pardon me?
Hold on, though. Because the question we always ask on the show, how much of this is racist, though? Because these are black kids in a lot of cases who are choosing not to learn how to read. Hold on, and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because how many times have I heard the terminology closed mouth don't get fed? If you know you cannot read, you need to be looking for some help. And these kids are aware of the fact that they don't have reading comprehension skills and they don't seek help, and the families don't seek help for them. I don't necessarily put this on the white man. I'm looking at us saying, how are we allowing our kids to be functionally illiterate? We are allowing decisions. We're making the decision. Like you said, you walked into a school with an idea for a literacy program, right? How many parents at North who got the kids who are testing out very low are proactive in saying, oh shit, little Lathan can't read. I'm gonna have to do something about him. I got to do something. Because what is he gonna do when he gets into the world and he can't read? He's gonna commit a crime to get his money.
Right. But I think, Kevin, I agree with. I'm not gonna say one Caucasian person is responsible for this. We're responsible for it. And the only way we can look at it to fix it is to go back and see what happened in our communities. Right. So if I go to a grade school, a kid in grade school is not responsible for them not learning. It's the parents in the house. So when we look at our community and we look at the school system, we look at the choice, the voucher, the 220 programs, and we look at teenage pregnancy. We have to look at all of these things that happen in our community that perpetuated this. So, okay. And we're trying to solve this problem by creating all of these organizations in our community that's trying to help families outside of the household when the problem is inside of the household. I've worked for Child Protective Services for 8 years. I've been in these homes. I've been in North Division. I've been in the Daniel School. I've seen the chaotic behavior up in those schools. this just didn't happen overnight. It happened in our homes, in our communities, because we haven't been helping each other. We've let each other down. It's nobody else's fault but our own.
Okay.
If
As
we're
long
not
as
out
we
there
can
helping
agree
this,
that this ain't just because I don't run the type of show where we pointing our finger at the white man all the
I'm
time.
not going to point my finger at them. I'm going to point it at me first.
Okay.
I mean, that's why you see me out there. I got 5 or 6 young men that I'm mentoring, and some younger men, boys and men that I'm mentoring, because that's my responsibility. And we're not being responsible for our children. So we got these little girls that are having babies, and nobody's taking care of them. Somehow or another, we have, and this is my idea of fixing this, because I've been through all of these systems. Somehow or another, we're going to have to come together as a family, as a community. They keep talking about this village. Well, it ain't no village. The only way it's going to be a village if we start helping these young women, and we teach these young men to keep their Peters in their pants, and these girls to keep their legs closed. And you got to learn how to read at home first. The numbers and the letters and all of that stuff should be learned at home before you even enter a school building. So we have to go back to these mothers who are primarily the caregivers in our community and help them. We got to help them.
The problem with that sometimes is that you're dealing with a mother who can't read. So
her expectation,
her expectation is for the school to teach them, because she got to go be a CNA. Shout out to all CNAs or whatever it is that she does, security, whatever she does, she has to go do that to keep food, even just to get her welfare check. Ain't no stay-at-home mama no more, right? Ain't no more. Hold on now. Let me catch my chat room, and then I want to get the witch doctor, and I got to get Rail involved, because we're all fathers. We're all fathers, right? And we all care about the community. So let me get this whole Outlaw family combobulated, right? I just made a word up. That was slick. Mark Ross says it's a damn shame. Shout out to Mark Ross. Mark Ross has a dope podcast. Says it's a damn shame that our kids are in the shape they're in. I agree with Vince. He says, John Fletcher, shout out to my sponsor, actually. EPU Personal Defense, SDS.com, EPU Personal Defense, EPUSDS.com. Forgive me for my illiteracy. He said, too many distractions in families. I will always say we battle against systems in place to keep us distracted.
I agree.
Hothead McLeod, shout out to you, Hothead. He said black parents has prioritized athletics over academics. Ooh, I got something for that. Scott Epicet says hallelujah for this guy. Mark Ross says parents have to step up and be parents, take a better moral responsibility to raise our youth appropriately and to help them and be active in their upbringing. Mac Moan says, Mark, what it do? He's hollering at Mark Ross. Listen, about the priorities of, like, my son with this whole thing about figuring out where he's gonna go, right? And yeah, playing football is one of the things, right? And I understand that can be your draw to education, because that's what got me. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't thinking about no damn degree. I just wanted to keep playing football at first, until I got on that level and I started noticing what was going on, and I started seeing what I was supposed to be doing, understanding like you here to get some knowledge to be able to do something. And it ain't about specifically what you're studying. It's about problem solving skills. It's about critical thinking skills. It's about research skills. It's about building up cognitive capacities. People say, well, you think he go pro? That's the first thing they say. And my answer is always, I just want him to get a degree. If he went pro, it'd be a tremendous blessing, but I would feel great just to see him get his college degree, get something accomplished, and then be able to move forward and be able to plan and execute. So that is true. But let me see. The moral part of it is crazy. I just think we have a lot of parents who are not strong readers themselves, Vince. I think that's what it comes down to. You have a lot of parents, because usually if you have a baby at 15 or 16, you weren't a really good student, right? And so you probably was pretty much done until after you had the baby and figured out, damn, I got to go I'll go to MATC and get my high school, my GED. It's just second class kind of shit, right? Like, and it's us worrying about shit that we worry about the wrong thing, because we so worried about who racist that we ain't looking at it, that we treat ourselves like we're racist. Kamar, what's your take on this whole thing?
Well, I always say we got to teach our kids what we want our kids to know. You know what I mean? Like, we can't expect the schools to teach them. That's like, expecting an overseer to teach you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't gonna teach you to be better than them. We have to teach our kids to be better than everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's on us. That's what I feel like.
Okay,
I agree.
It's on us.
With your own daughters,
Now,
though.
at the same time, the schools do have to do their job. You know what I mean? Like, they got to do what they there for too if they getting some of this money.
Of course. But with your own daughter, I know you were proactive with your daughter. So it wasn't, if you heard about your daughter having an issue in school, you got at it.
Yeah.
You wasn't waiting for it to fester and become this unmanageable issue. You was, man, boom, I got to handle this.
Yeah,
right?
They talked about me at my daughter's graduation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With everything else that I got going on.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm pretty sure, they're going to be happy to see Mr. Barnes go next month at Milwaukee Lutheran when it's over. I'm pretty sure they're going to be like, damn, we got rid of this motherfucker right here. Because I'm there. Like, I'm on the phone. You will get a text. Say, hey, brother, let's talk. Because I got to get straightening. Rail, your father as well. You still have young children in school. What approach? And I've heard you say you don't even, because your kind of approach to education is not traditional like ours. So where are you at with this in terms of being proactive with your child's education?
So I actually work with my children. Like, I believe homeschooling is still always the best. Unfortunately, because I am at a point where I got to work to hold my house down, I'm not able to homeschool. And then my lady isn't really, that isn't what she wants to do as far as being a teacher or something like that. So I can't hold her to that. So what I do is, in time that I do have my children, or when I can sit down with them, we go over, like I got a boy that's gonna be 3 in April, and he already can count to 20. He knows his colors. We do that shit at the crib. I was counting before I went to, not count. I was reading before I started school. I started school 5-year-old kindergarten. I was already damn near reading at 4.5, because when I was growing up, for Nintendo and shit, you had to know passwords to get back to the same level. So I learned how to read playing video games and shit and stuff is. So, that's how we do. Now I did have my sons, my 2 oldest from my marriage, they went to a Montessori school. So it was a difference. And then unfortunately, I think they went from Montessori to a traditional school in high school, and it just fucked everything up. So, I had to get my boys tutors and shit like that, just to kind of keep them from falling too far back. But, even though I'm not really with traditional education, I still do understand the need to be able to read, write, do math and shit like that.
Yeah, you better get it. Vince is a father also.
Well, I got custody of my son when he was 13 years old. I was in the military and came back, and that's a long story. But long story short, he came to me. He was, kind of bucking his mother. He came to me with a point, whatever. And, we sat down and talked about it. And every day he came home from school blaming the teacher. I'm up at the school with this teacher talking. And at the end of the day, it ain't the teacher, it's you. So we got that clear. But I think what we got here is we got something special here. We got 4 men here who love their children. When we talk about teenage pregnancy, you've got kids that have been abandoned by the fathers, right? I mentor a 10-year-old. I took him out to his birthday. I went with him to this place out somewhere, and his dad came in. I wanted to meet his dad, right? Because I wanted to see what this relationship was like. Well, the dad came in. The whole time that the dad was there, he never paid attention to his son at all. So we've got kids that are not being nurtured properly by both parents. Now, that's partially our fault too, because talking to this young man, I'm going to say, hey, here's what I recognize you and your kid and what you didn't do. And here's what I know about your kid and his passivity and what he's doing at school. He's going to need you there. So I'm taking on the responsibility to talk to another grown man about his son who he's neglecting, and I see the neglect in his son, and I see the behaviors and what's happening to his son. Part of it, his son is being feminized because he's always up under his mother. There's a lot of things that are going on in our community that we're not watching. So when I talk about we have to get back to the family and to the village, we have a responsibility. I mean, I know men see me and boys see me doing the right thing, but I approach young men all the time and see where are you at and what you're doing and how can I help you? And if you have kids, here's the responsibility. How do we get back to these co-parenting these children and both parents caring? And I know that there's situations where, and I'm in a situation where most people don't notice, but I have a daughter, she's in her 30s, and my ex-wife didn't allow me to see my daughter. So we have those situations too, where mothers get in the thing and the court system allows that to happen. So I've seen my daughter 10 times less than 10 times in the last 30 some odd years because of the court system and what her mother did and her family did to her. So that happens in our communities too. So we've got the court system against us. Sometimes we try to be dads, but we can't, because the only thing the system wants is our money. They don't want us to give our time and our energy to our babies, which is more important than money. But we have to teach each other that there's a responsibility too, young man, that you got to help this lady, because I mean, she's 14, 15 years old. How are you going to add value to this child's life? She can't do it by herself. And 9 times out of 10, her mother and her father aren't going to jump in and help that teenage mother raise that child. And that's what we're looking at today.
To a certain degree, black men are full of shit too. Like, and I'm being honest when I say that, to a certain degree. I mean, but to a certain degree, everybody's full of shit, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of parenting, and I'm saying that because, like I said, I've always tried to keep my son involved in athletics. And so many fathers and so many mothers and the whole family was there for the AAU game, right? If he scored and if he did good, or he going to the NBA, he gonna save all of us. They love it. But you see this young man in school, he ain't even eligible to play high school ball. He can't stay in the building without getting suspended. He's running amok. And so when you talk to the parents, and I've run into this now, my son he's a senior, and there's so many kids over the years, from football to soccer to track to basketball, that he's played with, that he's, teammates of. And I said, well, where's this kid? Where's that kid? He in the street. He hustling now. Oh, he on some gang stuff here. And I say, how? Because after the game is over, you ain't as invested in making sure he can read, or making sure that the school he's at is beneficial to him or her. And then you don't tune back in until next season. You don't find out until he's in the 9th grade. Like, why you ain't on the team? I'm ineligible. What you mean you ineligible? I'm ineligible. What part of that shit you don't understand? I ain't never invested in no school work, but I can shoot. You got a wet J. It's grown men. These kids become good athletes in high school basketball and all. It's grown men groupies. They following these dudes. They treating these dudes like they are just already in the league,
living vicariously through their kids.
But none of them are asking the kid, where you at in school? Where's your grades at? Junior college, I went to junior college, okay? I went to a great drive. Shout out to my JUCO. Shout out to my coach for building a program at the JUCO where some of us actually made it. JUCO is a tough sell. It's a tough thing. A lot of these JUCOs, community colleges, I'm going to California for JUCO. What? You get out there, there ain't no dorms. Everything is far apart. You need a car. Your ass will be back home by August, right? Like, our kids don't have the support behind them to say, no, that's not beneficial for you. And once again, I'm not breaking my arm, patting myself on my back, because this is what I was supposed to do. I'm not supposed to get credit for it. I'm just saying we talk a good game, but we don't always stand in there like we should. Vince, that thing with that child support in them courts, what a lot of brothers got to realize is you have rights too. And so a lot of times, man, this bitch got me all up in court. Yeah, maybe you need to go down there and talk to somebody. Brothers be like, it's whatever. He show up in court. He ain't got no lawyer. She have her little thing set up, and he just go along to get along. Once again, I didn't have child support.
My lawyer told me, Kev, he said, hey, you know what? You can pay me $1 million, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to see your daughter, because Wisconsin or Milwaukee is a female state. My lawyer told me that, Kev. Yep. I went back to court in front of a commissioner. I said, hey, this lady is not allowing me to see my daughter. You know what? Because I switched jobs. The commission, I stopped paying child support for a couple of months. Yeah, I did that purposely. The commissioner, I said, hey, she's not letting me see my daughter. It's been going on for 5 years. You know what the commissioner told me?
That ain't what we're here for.
We're here for the money.
Right. They're not. That's why you got to go down there and file and get your own thing going. Because when you walk in that court, you can have a bag full of receipts and say, man, I've been taking care of my kids. And they'll say there's no court order on that. Congratulations, Mr. Jones. You're a great father. But this is a court order. This is legally binding. You got to do this. You got to follow this order. It takes some brothers time to realize, no, you know what? Let me get me some. If your lawyer told that, I would have told him you fired on the spot.
Oh, he was fired, but you still, this is systemic.
It is, and that's enough to discourage a lot of brothers and say, you know, the lawyer said I can't do shit. Let me give him a chat room. Earl said, for those of us that know how to read, we should be outside teaching these kids how to stop buying toys and start buying educational material. These kids don't want that. You can't teach empty seats. We got to figure out why we got a 40% truancy rate. That says a lot because you can't teach empty seats. I don't give a damn how good a teacher you are. So you talking about an empty classroom. The teacher's job is to show up prepared and teach the kids that are in his or her room. If he get there and ain't nobody there.
That was my experience. I was the only student there.
Turn down his paycheck. It ain't his fault. Like, yeah, give me my bread, man. Fuck this shit. Mark Ross says school isn't important to kids anymore. It also seems that school isn't a big deal with the parents as well, because there we go again, as we as black people talk this shit about you don't need no education. Kids can't process what you mean when you say that. You ain't got to go to college to get no money, right? That's not to say you don't need education, though. Yeah, you don't got to go to a liberal arts college and study philosophy or all this shit. Go get you a certification to be a plumber or an electrician or HVAC or CNC machining. That's education too. That's why they call it vocational education, because you can get a vocation from knowing, right? But we keep telling these kids, you see me? Shit, I get money. I ain't got no high school. Like, it's like this is what we do to our children. We do it. It's self-inflicted. Scott Epicet says, and the problem today is it's 21st century. You can join the military like that awesome brother did because the tech advances in the military on the grunt level, what you need to comprehend what you're reading. You will get an education going to the military. Dion, what's popping, man? I'm glad you coughed because I forgot you was there. What's going on, man?
Oh, no, some got in my throat. Yeah, I don't know how you forgot about me. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the show for number one. And you know, a lot of times it's like you was just stating just a few minutes ago about empty seats. But we also have to understand, we grew up, I don't know how everybody grew up. Let me say that. I know I grew up pretty well. I went to a Catholic school. I had my grandmother, my grandfather. I lived a pretty normal life. I didn't have a drug addict mama, things like that. Even though my mom lived up here in Wisconsin, I lived in Chicago. We don't know what go on in a lot of these children's homes every day. First of all, let me say this. That's the main thing I call for. A lot of times, a lot of these women really didn't want to be mothers. I was talking to one of the teachers at my school, and she was like, I really didn't want to have kids. So sometimes if a person didn't want to have a child from the beginning, they're not going to have that maternal instinct. Then we also got to understand that there's a lot of dysfunction and chaos going on within some of those households. I'm a what you call lunch lady. I'm a food assistant at a school in Milwaukee, around the corner from my house. I see parents running their children in late. You know, you just see how somebody, like one day, one mother came up in there, all of her tail was hanging out. That's not, and if it was looking good, I probably would have took a gander. But it made me get bowel in my mouth like I was about to throw up because it looked so nasty. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of these children are dealing with a lot of dysfunction at home before they even get to the school. Then we also got to understand, this because I see these children. A lot of those children are drug babies, not the crack babies, but weed, this high potent weed that they got out here, which y'all call loud.
Fetal alcohol. Fetal alcohol.
Perk 30s, ecstasy, you know, and even with the dad, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never really knew until I got older that our sperm played part in nurturing a child, because a mother, our sperm cells are alive. If you ejaculate on a lens and put it up under a microscope, you will see the little sperm cells moving. A woman's eggs are not alive. So we have the gift of life. She is just a birth canal to life. So
well, that's
wait.
Yeah. Stop. Look, this is what I always tell women. I said, y'all complain about carrying that baby for 9 months. I've been carrying it my whole life.
Yeah, so when we get the end result of what's going on, I couldn't imagine. This is like, say, for instance, when I was talking my lady friend in Chicago. I'm gonna give a prime example. She has a sister. Her sister is bisexual. So her sister lives with a man and lives with a woman. The funny part about it is it was her boyfriend, but her boyfriend married her girlfriend. Don't know how that worked, but hey, it did. So now she has 2 children. These children are seeing something in that household that's not regular. You understand what I'm saying? Homosexual relationships, I don't care what nobody say, are not normal. I don't think homosexual parents should rear children, raise them up. That's just me. It's my opinion. Hold on now,
because the Brad and Judy said that they was gonna raise their son to love black people, even though his father is a white man.
Yeah, I never even seen that show. Stuff like that, like with the Miss Nettie, with the Mr. Nettie guy.
What is that about?
I don't feed off. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feed off into that type of ignorancy because, like I said before, I'm homophobic, and that's a whole different story. But so a lot of times these children are brought up in households that we couldn't even fathom. Like I said, I don't know what a lot of people went through in their household. Maybe they had alcoholic mothers. Your mother turned to dope date. And I can't say, as part of me and who I am as a person, I must admit that I did damage to my community. I dope dated. I sold cocaine, plenty cocaine. I had sex with women while their children was in the bed. I'm hitting it, put the hand on the baby's back. So I played a lot of part in detriment to my community. No, for real, I'm not waiting. Kev, you ain't got to play that.
No, that's wild. Do you hear what you just said? Yeah. You had your hand on the baby back.
Yeah, I'm not proud of that, but that's something that I did, and I had to come. When I was in prison, I did a lot of reflecting. So I had to reflect on a lot of things that I did to help damage my community. You understand what I'm saying? So, and then men being abusive, calling a woman a bitch all in front of the children, slapping her down. Just we not thinking about these things or how it's gonna reflect on the child's behavior. And then now here come the child coming to school, and like I tell my principal, because we got a lot of misbehaved children there, I'd be like, this is just something that's going home, and this is the outlet here at school. You understand what I'm saying? We don't know what's going on in their household. And I feel sorry for a lot of the children. And then, like you gentlemen were saying earlier, a lot of parents don't know how to read because they didn't make it past a certain grade in school. And like my daughter, for instance, and I explained that. I heard from her today. I have a similar situation as Vince, except for this reverse role, because I chose not to be a part of my daughter's life to hurt her mom. But my daughter is a stone cold crack addict. Today, she told me she's not going to stop smoking dope if she's 30. She's not going to stop smoking crack until she catches the dragon. I said, well, what the hell is the dragon? Because I might not want to catch that motherfucker either. You understand what I'm saying? But it's just so sad. And that's another thing, you know what I'm saying, that I'm not proud of, but I can admit it. And I could teach other people like, hey, if you have daughters or sons, you have to be there. You have to be a positive, productive citizen. Yeah, I call and be like, I'm GD to the world, blow up, as you say. But it's not that action. It's the teachings and the philosophy that I believed in to help me grow as a man. But I would never try to instill that into a young man today. Now, if I see a young man that's not doing what he should do, well, hell yeah, I'm going to tell the nigga, look, man, don't be out here robbing nobody. Man, try to get you a pack. Try to teach them a little hustling, and maybe not even that. If you like working on cars, find something that you love to do. Because I can tell you, my inmate number is 388754, and even though I sat in jail for 2.5 years, that shit, I don't want to go back to jail no more. I'd die right now if somebody put the handcuffs on me just to question me. I don't have contact with the police. I don't want no part of that. So a lot of these young men don't realize what's ahead of them. You could do what you want to do now and think it's cool, But when you sitting behind the prison walls, ain't nobody sending you no money. You ain't got no little broad to keep it real with you. She ain't gave a juice box away. Somebody out here raising your shorty, and your shorty gonna continue in your footsteps. It's just a repetitive cycle. You understand what I'm saying? So I definitely commend all you brothers with every step y'all taking. You know what I'm saying? To be positive, productive men in society, because we definitely gonna need that in order for our people, our race of people to survive. And you know, I like you, Vince. I like what you're doing. You've been a mentor to these black men, and I definitely can respect you for going to the military, because I wanted to go to the military, but I was just too headstrong. But I tell people these three things gonna give you structure: prison, the military, or religion. And you definitely don't want to be up in Walpine, you know what I'm saying? And Boscoville and all that old weird shit, going through all that crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that this show is a positive outlet for everybody. You know, we gonna call and talk shit later on, but y'all on some dead shit now. So I had to call and talk some dead shit. And then when y'all get on the bullshit later on, I'm gonna call and be on the bullshit. But I'm gonna let you brothers go, and y'all keep up the good work. You already know, Kev. I'm gonna call back though. I'm heading down 41, headed back to the base now, man. I catch y'all. Love, bro. Love always.
Peace.
Yes,
Peace,
sir.
peace.
A mouthful.
In the big rig on the road.
But you know, getting back to the point, Kevin, is that, you know, we're gonna have to be involved. I mean, in our community and with these kids, and to go back and see how we got here. And I think when I go back and I've done the research, is that what I find is that the system that they put in place with the charter, the vulture, and all these other different types of schools that broke apart our neighborhoods. Now we're getting our kids up at 6 o'clock in the morning to put them on the bus to go to another school in a different neighborhood. And last summer I went to a meeting with Howard Fuller, and they were talking about how to build their community. The Hmong community was there also, and they both had architectures there. And Howard Fuller was talking about how he helped write the laws for charter schools and the fact that he's going to be getting a school built. But here's what the Hmongs were doing with their architect says, here's our idea of what we're going to do in our community. It's a community-based school built around our culture. And what we're going to do within our culture, we're going to build a grade school, a middle school, and a high school. And all of our kids within that community can go to those schools. That's what we used to have in our communities, but they've broken that down. When you break that down, you break our families apart. And this is why we're so far apart, because nobody knows anybody anywhere in our communities anymore. They've torn and broken down what we used to. I'll be honest with you. When I grew up, I lived in a village. I knew all the men around the corner. I knew all the kids. They never broke us up. We did things together. And now nothing happens like that. They've taken it all away from us because they got us split up in all these different directions.
Okay, so Scott is saying the problem is trades even need a higher level reading comprehension about 12th grade for today's tech and certification. Yeah, I don't think 12th grade, that's not like sky high aspirations to be able to read on the 12th grade level. Like, come on, like hold on. Once again, I'm putting this on us. I'm putting it on us. Give me a second. John Fletcher, back in the day, like Rail, I learned how to read and comprehend because I love comic books. There you go. I grew up on the comic books as well. And I didn't realize it at the time that was sharpening my comprehension skills. But I read the shit out of them. But once again, Rel, we talked about being the type of kids who took those old encyclopedias and read. I went through every volume, and my mother and them never even touched them. They was just there for decoration, right? Like, so there has to be a thirst for knowledge, first of all. But to our credit, this fast food information generation where a kid can just pop his phone out or pop the computer out or get online and find certain things and act like they know something because they know about everything they want to know about, right? Like, so they can tell you what the latest in almost everything is in pop culture and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of kids will tell you, you tell this, man, you fuck Black history. I don't care about that old ass shit. They'll tell you that. They'll say that. Now I got this thing too. Because I get tired of old people always talking about back in the days.
Yeah.
You know, old people get on my nerve with this shit, myself included. I'm here to tell you the world has never been perfect. There's no such thing as the good old days. I hear older black people talking about good old days in the 50s and the 60s. Oh, you meant when you couldn't get on the front of the bus? You meant when you had to drink out of a different water fountain? Is those the good old days you talking about? You talking about when the schools were so desegregated that black people had the absolute worst facilities unapologetically? Oh, those good old days. I put this caption of this preacher, this pastor, and I don't want this to be a religious thing, but he was off the mark with what he was saying. He said, yeah, it's an older man. He said he was 62 years old. He said they celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop. I hate hip hop. I think it's the worst thing that ever happened to black people. And I'll tell you why. I'm 62. I remember how people looked before hip hop. Remember how we talked before hip hop. Let me tell you something. Hip hop did not introduce the word bitch, hoe. Hip hop didn't invent pimping. Hip hop didn't invent drugs. It didn't invent alcohol. It didn't invent gambling. It didn't invent homicide. It didn't invent absentee fatherism. It didn't invent poverty. I get tired of people trying to blame shit on some music. Did people cuss a little bit more after they heard NWA? Yeah, but them words was already invented. They didn't invent fuck, thee, or police. They just put all three of them together. And I tell you something, we was saying that shit in the community anyways. Yeah, go back and listen to what Huey and them was saying. Revolution has come off the pigs. Come on, man. So stop blaming hip hop and stop judging kids, because I'm gonna tell you that's divisive. Because once you before hip hop, this is what he's saying. Nobody was sagging their pants before hip hop. Girls wasn't painting all on themselves with tattoos before hip hop. They wasn't calling themselves bitches. You think they were? I read Iceberg Slim, right? Pimp, the story of my life. Robert Beck, who grew up in Milwaukee in the 30s and the 40s. The word bitch was in place. Hoe was in place, trick was in place, and he was a heroin addict. This is 50 years before the first rap song even came out.
And didn't he say his mama friend was fucking with him?
Well, he messed with all kinds of women. His mother babied him. She pampered him.
No, I think like a babysitter or something. So I mean,
yes,
like
there was, yeah,
like that,
yeah.
There were fucked up people back then too, even before hip hop.
Yeah, and then he caught an older woman who he said was pretty much the freak of the week, and she turned him out. And that was this is the 1940s, right? So what is this worst shit ever happened? And the NWA brought forth the destruction of the black community. The black community was already fucked up when NWA made a song.
I mean, the phrase "mama's baby, daddy maybe" was before hip hop. Like, I mean, even back in the blues days, it talked about Jody creeping through the back door while the
who's
man
making
left
love
out the front
to your
door.
old lady while you been out making love.
Hip hop didn't create niggas either.
Right, we didn't create that word. That's what I'm saying. Listen, the whole idea that's now these run. Listen, our grandfathers had 2 and 3 different families. They was taking care of most of them. Some of them they wasn't. And most of our great-great-grandparents married your great-great-grandmother when she was 15. Tell the truth about the shit, right? So don't blame this shit on you gonna isolate. Now, if I'm a kid from the hip-hop generation and I walk in this church and I hear all this, how am I gonna receive what you're saying? I'm gonna walk out. And I'm here to tell you, if you're 62, you don't remember too much from when you was 12. So while you talking about, I remember what people looked like before it started. And if you was 12 when it started, 9 times out of 10, it was new and you was young. So you got down with the shit too.
The funny thing, when I used to be in church, they always talked about secular music. That music is too secular. But when you look at the history of the black church, so back when doo-wop was the sound, church, the Ray Charles, the blues type church sound was too secular.
Yeah.
Then to the people who grew up on the blues sound and brought that to church, Kirk Franklin was too secular. So there's always a generation before the current generation that feel like their music is the downfall of that generation.
Look, Aretha Franklin is the queen of soul, right? Her father was a very prominent, nationally known celebrity pastor, right? You do know Aretha had her first child at 12. This
You
was in
seen
the
her in that
50s.
mesh shirt
Right.
that on State
Oh
of
my
Major
God,
Don
girl,
couldn't live?
you would bring that up.
Man,
That was 78.
that was a grown ass, thick ass woman, man.
But I'm saying she got pregnant at 12, and then I think 14, and then maybe 17. Whole time, Grandmaster Flash hadn't said a word yet. And a lot of people say she got pregnant by her own dad. I don't know how true it is.
Hey, look.
But he admittedly used to have freak parties. He was the first Puffy.
Hey, and that also could be one of the reasons why she wore that outfit.
Hey,
Later on, look us everywhere. If y'all don't know what you're talking about, it's Aretha Franklin on Soul Train doing Rock Steady. And I love how Don Cornelius acts like he don't know the shit out of order. Like,
yeah, he played the shit out of that. He played the shit out of that interview.
He didn't look at Aretha one time and said, when the next album coming out? She over here. Aretha had them. That was the 70s though, but you know, she had them like, hey, shit, man. I'm glad that was before I was old enough to start watching
titty jobs and BBLs, man. Black women so delicious.
Oh man. Deion said them was orangutan joints. They was hanging.
Hey, shit. I take them all shapes and sizes.
Oh my God. Let's not digress, Rail. Get Rail started. Earl Henning said that's the way they got us thinking. What fucked up? Oh shit, I fucked that up. What's fucking up us as rather than how do we get back to where we need to be? Well, once again, I made that point. I made that point about the pastor because that's divisive and that divides people. And that turns people off to what you're like. They got to tell the truth. Well, no, not like that. Because what you're doing is you're giving a personal opinion and you don't know what you're necessarily talking about. Hip hop didn't invent sagging pants, right? Like my father told me they used to sag their pants in the 50s and then they went to wearing them tight in the 60s. And then it got back to bell bottoms in the 70s. The pants was tight. When Chuck D and them came out, Chuck D was wearing Wranglers. That's a derivative of prison culture and gang culture. Hip hop didn't invent either one.
So I guess, Kevin, the question is getting back to what do we do in our culture to get these kids back to a point where they can learn how to read, they can make choices in their life versus the direction that they're heading is filling up new prisons.
We have to communicate with them and we have to communicate with them effectively. See, when you come, and Vince, you're a mentor. I've worked with young men. The one thing that I learned when I worked with any young man, no Diddy, like whether I was a care coordinator or whatever, is I had to build a rapport with him. I had to meet him where he was at. I had to be able to understand what was going on with him and speak to that. And then that light came on where he said, damn, this cat gets it. He ain't here trying to judge me. He ain't here trying to shame me. He's trying to help me. He's trying to show me. And then I could talk to him. Then we could get to the point where I say, man, you know better than that. You right, KB. You right, Mr. Barnes. You right. But I didn't just walk in like that.
No, you can't.
No, you got. And so we got to get off the soapbox with our youngsters. We got to stop acting like we were so pure and that back in the days, everything was all good. So I'm here to tell you it wasn't. I was in Milwaukee in the 80s. Don't tell me what didn't used to happen. I used to see the shit. Some of y'all didn't grow up on Atkinson. Some of y'all didn't grow up on the part of Capitol I grew up on. I seen all that stuff coming up. It wasn't the first time I heard Snoop Dogg say bitch wasn't the first time I heard that word. You know what I'm saying? So the first time I seen a pimp on TV wasn't the first time I seen one. I seen some in real life growing up. And some family members who was engaged in that kind of behavior. And I think I put a comment on there and said, hip hop didn't invent shit. Because there was pimps and there was Max and there was hoes and there was drugs before hip hop came along. Everybody try to say, but it wasn't that much.
Hey, in the beginning, hip hop actually dispelled all that shit.
Was against it totally. Until we sold it out. Right? Until it was cultural homogenization. And so now that's what you get. You're going to get a Glorilla. You're going to get a Lotto. You're going to get a Cardi B. Now they're going to push that image on our little girls until they can't no more. They're not going to put the positive women out there. They're not going to put the women who holding themselves. I think, Rail, that's what I like the most about that series we were talking about because they show young black women and black men in a positive light. Like the girls on there ain't always hoes. They ain't always sluts. A lot of them are saying, you know, I'm trying to do something with my life. They're trying to manage their relationships, and we need those images. So, Vince, my answer to your question is, the first part of it is we got to learn how to communicate with our youngsters, because a 40% truancy rate is fucking ridiculous. We got to get them interested and explain to them that the only way over this hump is to get your mind right. You got to strengthen yourself mentally, man. Youngster, what you gonna do if you can't read?
I think well, it ain't a quick solution.
Yeah,
but I think the long living solution, or the one that would go further, is us restructuring the home. I mean, even to the truancy rate. Where the fuck these kids going? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's home gotta be empty because they all came. Shit, back in the day, Tabs would pick you up if you was at the mall. I don't know if Tabs still exists, but
no, I don't think so.
But you know that you couldn't just congregate in public, so you got to be at somebody's home whose mama probably gone. You know, so I think one of the things, like Vince was talking about the Hmong folk, I know. Well, what I see with other cultures is that they grandmama and granddaddy still at home. So even when the parents are working, like with my kids, they go to a heavily Hmong school. Like, you know, it'd be hilarious as hell seeing the Hmong kids singing about Martin Luther King with them big ass smiles on their face during the Black History program. But it'd be hilarious. But it's just a beautiful sight.
Hopper's jumping. I worked in Hopper. I can tell you about the difference between Marshall High School and Hopper, because I worked in them both for College Possible. So I come on, man.
Yeah,
come on, where do you
it's
think
like,
the solution lies? We gotta, because we don't have that much time. I want to make sure everybody. Kamar, where do you think the solution is?
They got the grandparents bringing their kids to school, so restructuring the home is hard. I mean, even from a parent point of view, when I became a parent, I learned quickly that a parent ain't got all the answers. A parent is just a person trying to get their shit together and make it through this life while being responsible for other little people. So, you know, we got to get these parents up, these mamas. I mean, even when they home, I watch parents give their kids a phone because they've learned how to pacify their kids instead of raise their kids. They just need a break where a kid ain't asking them for shit or crying. So they giving them that entertainment, and we can kind of teach them, hey, if you're going to give your kid that phone, have them pull up some Leapfrog or some shit. Like, there's still a productive way, but at the end of the day, these are people going through life probably overworked or underpaid, and still got to get their life together while trying to get their kids' life together.
Well, I can't give them no excuse, though. You knew that when you had 5 babies. You're going to have to work your ass off. That's no excuse to lacking parenting. Kamar, and I'm not shooting down what you're saying. I'm just saying we're giving them, no, I don't want to hear that shit, because I hear brothers say, my mama raised 7 of us. And yeah, but they use it as a crutch. Kamar, where you think the solutions are at?
It's a lot of solutions. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, it's got to come a lot of ways. But I think first we have to learn how to be a good example. Like, we got to work on ourselves to the point where we're a good example. We live in what we teach. You know what I mean? And it's important that they see us living what we teach. Like how Vince out there, you talk about the clean neighborhoods. Well, they see him out here with these pickers cleaning the neighborhood up. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be good examples for what we teach. Because, see, ain't nobody going to teach me shit if they ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me to go do nothing if you ain't doing it, first off. You know what I'm saying? And then now I want to, you know what I mean? So that's the first spot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We got to get ourselves together. You know, then it's always like we always got to be on teach mode. We always got to be on teach, help another up mode. You know what I'm saying? Always. If it's somebody else, I'm talking about with the youth, you know what I mean? Like we see somebody else kids out here. It ain't always, their parents ain't always there, right? So we got to kind of be there for them. We see them down. We got to talk to them, help them work through their emotions, man. You know what I mean? So they can start to learn how to do that. They got to learn that it's other good people out here. You know what I'm saying? And everybody ain't against them. Everybody ain't trying to tear them down. Everybody ain't trying to kick them while they down. You know what I mean? It's people out here for real. You know what I mean? So we got to work on ourselves also. It's got to start there.
Vince, you're the you're kind of like the senior correspondent on this panel. I'm very interested in knowing where do you think the solution starts at? Because we got to get to. We can rant on the problem, but eventually we're gonna have to figure this shit out.
Well, I think, Kamar and Rail, I mean, pretty much nailed it. I mean, um, we're gonna have to figure out how we can reach this. First of all, the teenage mothers. I mean, Kevin, like you said, she doesn't know anything. So how do we get to her? How can we get a sister to her to help her become somewhat of a woman, or and put it into her ear? It's not your fault that you had this child, but you got an 18-year commitment. We have to circle ourselves with women have to take care of the girls, and the men have to take care of the boys. Every other culture does this for their culture. We're not doing it anymore. That's the way we used to do it. I've mentored Kia boys, got shot, this, that, and the other. And like you said, Kevin, you got to get down there and get dirty and nasty with them and talk their language for them to be able to understand, to come out of it. We got some generations here. I've been in these households where these mothers, 12 years old, 13 years old, they really don't know what they're doing, Kevin, and they're putting these kids. And when we see these Kia boys out here, it's a product of their environment. It's not going to stop because it's psychological. These kids have sat down with a clicker for all of their lives, and they've been driving cars. And when they get in the car, they're on automatic pilot because their brain's been programmed that way. Somehow or another, we have to deprogram ourselves and put ourselves in a different position to do different things. And it's not through the church, because I've been to 20, 30 different churches, and the kids aren't in the churches. So we've got all these dollars going to these organizations, 4-1 for Life, violence prevention, but none of those organizations are put together a program with people that are going knocking door to door, seeing that they can help these mothers, these young mothers with these babies. It's not going to change. And like I said, if Rail said, if we don't get in that house to take care and help that mother raise that boy, the probability of him going to jail goes up exponentially. And let me say one thing about the military and civilian life. You do have to read. I was able to read to get in, but here's the caveat, is that I read to get in. As soon as I got in, they sent me to school. I learned how to do the job on the job. I lived when I came back to the United States, what I learned in the military was no longer valid, because in the country, they require you to have a piece of paper. So I had to go back and I dropped out of high school, so I had to go back and get that paper. But if even society can somehow or another look at us and say, hey, we got to teach them how to read. But once they learn how to read, they can do anything, and we can send them to this trade school. We need to take what we used to have back in the trade schools, back in the high schools. In junior high school, I went to wood shop. In high school, I went to metal shop. So the question becomes, how did it get taken out of the school? First of all, we have to answer that question before we can move forward. Go answer that question to see exactly how we got out of our school systems, and then and only then can we put it back in. And now we start to work on some younger generations to get them going in the right directions. We've got some generations out there that are just going to go to jail, and we just have to face up to it. Some of them are just going to go to jail, but there's these younger kids that's being born today and 10, 15 years old right now. They deserve our attention. I believe that we can turn some of them around. My philosophy when I worked with children and I work with young men, if a young man told me that he didn't love his mother, I got a problem. Because any child who does not love their mother, the probability of you doing anything for that child is exponentially high. So that's maybe somebody we have to leave to the wayside, because he's probably going to be going to jail. Because if you don't love your mother, you're not going to love anybody else. You don't even love yourself. So we have to teach our kids and bring love back into the equation. And men are going to have to play a big role in it. But we can't take the onus off of the woman, because she has to understand that she had a child at a young age, and she has to allow the system of men in the community and us to be able to help her, and for her to stop treating us like what she heard about us, and that she has to have 3 or 4 baby daddies. We have to teach our children that sex isn't all about everything, that your body is sacred, whether you're a male or a female. Your penis is as sacred as her vagina, and you just don't put that in anybody, because you don't know what you're going to be creating. We can't keep creating these kids.
Yeah, like you're mixing up some bad genes there. But
exactly.
But also, okay, so I'm ready for some legal ramifications for kids who their parents, if this kid is habitually truant, it's time to start ticketing that parent. As a matter of fact, I used to work I was a case manager in Tabs on the truancy abatement and burglary suppression when it was in Sherman Park. And I was the case manager who handled the kids who were there every week 2 and 3 times because their parents were on the verge of receiving a ticket. Then they wanted to talk. Like, what do you mean I'm about to get a $300 ticket? Well, unless this kid goes to school and is back in school full time for 3 months straight, you're going to get a ticket. And if you don't pay it, they'll take it out your taxes.
So how do you force a kid to go to school but at the same time being told like you're limited in your discipline? Because you could sit, like I was saying, when you send a kid to school, they might leave, especially if they bust there, they might leave and walk to somebody's house who live nearby. So now you run the risk of getting a ticket because your kid ain't going to school. But if you whoop their ass, now that's a whole nother issue.
See, once again, that whole mentality for black people of the only way we can teach our kids is something by whooping their ass is something we got from the slave master, right? Because there you can teach a child without beating the shit out of them.
Yeah.
What you have to do is you have to be there. You have to be there first of all to build a foundation with your child. You have to establish a relationship, right? There's order. There should be order in your home. Especially as a little kid, a baby, a toddler, they should look at you as an authority figure. They should be saying, I don't want no repercussions from him or her, right? And so my thing is, you're going to go to school because if you don't, all the incentives that you have will be removed. You won't have a phone. You won't have fly sneakers. You won't have a video game system. You won't have any of these things because I ain't required to give you nothing but 2 hots and a cot. So this kid got on Jordans and all his fancy clothes and he won't go to school. I've seen this. I do realize because some of those kids get SSI checks because they've been diagnosed and the parent is saying, well, I got to give him some because he's getting a check. But what I'm saying is if you're parenting from day one, your child doesn't have to be beaten into submission to go to school. Because what you teach him is you go to school because it's the right thing to do. And it's also what I tell you to do. Right? My mother will sit there and blow a Marlboro menthol in your face and tell you don't smoke. And you say, well, you smoke. She'll say, you do what I say, not what I do. I'm grown. You ain't. You stay in a child's place. We don't teach those mantras anymore because I'm going to tell you, if somebody has a mental health issue, you can't cure them of it by beating the shit out of them. You're only going to make it worse. So if this kid really is ADHD or whatever would have you, and you go to punching him upside his head all the time, you're just making the problem worse. We also can't admit when our kid may need some help. You don't want the people at your job to know little Timmy in the 5th grade and he can't hardly read. You got to get over that shit and say, nah, he couldn't. I sent him to I've got some after school help. Like, it's about parenting is what I'm saying. That's the point. It's about being the kind of parent that there's a hierarchy in your home. My son can't look at me and tell me what he ain't gonna do. I don't give a shit if he 8 feet tall. Not in my house, you won't. There's land, there's laws in this land. This ain't no democracy. This is a dictatorship. Because your name ain't on no envelope. So you don't make no decisions. And so I think somebody on this panel said people trying to be friends with their kids. Yeah, I gave him a phone because I was trying to be. No, I don't care if you cry. You ain't getting shit. You won't do right. You don't get treated right. Yeah. But systematically, I think we need to address the poverty. And Vince, I'm gonna let you go. Let me catch my chat room before I get too far behind. 9:36. John Fletcher says they want the kids to pay to go to trade college when they could have kept it in school. Randy Jones, they could have. How much of this $252 million in this referendum gonna go to vocational education? I ain't heard Brother Posley say nothing about that. He keep talking about more teachers. Randy said, yes, Dr. Kev, make them accountable the same way parents buy new Jordans, right? It's incentive based. Tiarsha said there's nothing wrong with giving your child a spanking. There's a difference in spankings and beatings. Yeah, I'm just saying black people lean on every time they see a kid behaving wrong, they say, he just need his ass whooped. That's a slave master mentality. You get your niggers in line, beat their ass, right? No. You don't got to keep kicking this dude in his ass. First of all, if he's that bad, we got to figure out what's wrong with him first before you go whooping his ass. Randy said he said he wished he was on the show. Randy, all you had to do was call in. Earl said, I've been for years. Kids didn't know how to be
How to read.
How to read. Oh, how to read, and it's only getting worse. It's getting worse. Said, really, I had ADHD back then. It was called being hyper, and both my parents smacked the hyper out of me. Did they really smack it out of you, Scott? I don't know if they smacked it out of you. And I'm sure you still did some wild shit, right? I don't know. Is that the kid? I just look, I'm telling you this because I didn't beat my kids. I came from a Mississippi, like you get your ass whooped for everything. It don't matter what it is. And my daughter, who's a senior in college right now, tells me all the time, I didn't even want you yelling at me. Like when you yelled at me, I went into a shell because I didn't want to make y'all mad. My son was a little bit different, but I ain't had to beat his ass. I've had to threaten him a couple times, but I didn't grow. My point is, I didn't grow up every time something happened, I'm going to get the belt. I'm beating the shit out of you. The spanking comes. There's a time when you do got to say, okay, now you're just being belligerent. I'm about to handle my business. But that ain't the main way you teach kids shit, is just by kicking their ass every time. Because most of us grew up getting them whooping saying, I'm not going to beat my kids like this. I know I done got whooped with an extension cord and was like, I would never hit my kids with no extension cord. Like she just tore my ass up. I was doing some shit I shouldn't have been doing. But damn, an extension cord? Like it was real. Frank Joe, shout out to you. We need to control our dollars. He said that's the absolute first thing we need to do. Well, the Hmongs have this excellent solidarity. You can say what you want about them, but I live on the Northwest side. Real, you know how Hopper, they took the old Morris building. It's ridiculously beautiful right now. And they running the hell out that school. They have solidarity. Like you said, they got grandmama, great guys. We're so far away from that, but then comes down to the system has torn us apart. There's a systematic separation of us, right? That's not an excuse, but it's something to think about that, yeah, we would love to have all the generations of our family in the same home, but I don't know if that's always possible. So
we're going to be forced to with this gentrification. You know, something's going to happen because this part of our community is getting smaller and smaller. And either we're going to die off and not be any of us, and they're going to just have everything, or we're going to start prospering. And like Rail brings it up all the time, we're going to start taking care of ourselves, buying some land, planting and having our own food, our own gardens, and taking care of each other. And these kids can see this and they can find a different way of life. It's on us.
It's on us. It's on us. And
on us, period.
I'm looking at Scotty. He didn't say this on the show. He inboxed me this because Kamar just
waiting. Sacrifice for the next.
Yeah.
Kamar just waiting. He said, you really want the solution. You're not going to like it. He's going to call me racist. But Black American women need to stop making babies for at least 2 generations. They're feeding hopelessness by adding bodies to the problem. As a Republican, I hate to say it, but we need to bring back greater access to abortion and flood all schools with access to birth control. Lastly, the children left in the community find some way to get the parents to focus on their literacy and then their children.
There's truth in that.
Well, hold on with the Black women not having babies for 2 years.
No, I'm saying some truth with that.
Yeah, you say you chew up the fish and you spit out the bone.
Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, we going back to that. That was eugenics. Come on, man.
Let me say this. I think we should get back to the point where we can say aunt or uncle isn't 5 years old.
There you go. Yeah, the order of it. Yeah.
The hierarchy in the family has to get back to where it used. We need to have 50, 60, 70-year-old grandmothers. We need to have 40-year-old mothers and 35-year-olds. We don't need to have this generation in between, especially under 20 years old, having multiple babies. That's the problem.
And I'm gonna tell you this, like, I think really when it comes down to our young men and our young women with these babies, I think a lot of it is because there's just not a specific focal point for us teaching them about sexuality.
Hey,
I really think to go into a room with young women and have a woman and like, let's hold on, let's have clearly defined gender lines here. No Wayne Brady, no P. Diddy. A woman, a heterosexual woman going into these rooms saying to these young ladies, this is what it is.
hey, Kev, we
Are
got
you
that.
blessed with the ability to give life? And I think vice versa. We as
Kev,
men
we got
have
that.
had those conversations.
Kev, that's exactly
too.
that's exactly what Team Chill do, what Sam and Ticey do when they going into these schools.
Right.
And teaching these classes. That's what they teaching them about, healthy relationships. What's safe, what's not safe, be about boundaries. And you know what I mean? How to determine a healthy relationship, even with your parents, how to have healthy relationships with your parents. You know what I mean? So they are doing that. You know what I mean? And it was dope that you said that because it led into that, you know.
Well, no, it's absolutely, listen, and you can't run from the smoke, right? Like, you got to be able to, because these young men have questions, and you might think he's just trying to be funny, or he's trying to figure it out. Like when we start talking about it, man, when you see, and I've done this because I used to do didactic groups at St. Charles, life skills with young men. And I would say, when you see a young lady dressed a certain way, how do you feel? Right. And I would have these young dudes in there and they'd be like, what you mean? I'd be like, she got on something, she got her breasts out, she got her butt out, she twerking, she bent over, she's saying nasty stuff to you, she's saying all this, she acting real sexually suggestive. Young brother said, shit, I'll think about hitting that. I was ready to tear something up. And everybody laugh at first, right? And then I say, okay, so your first inclination was you wanted to do something sexual with her, correct? Yeah. And I would say, did you ask yourself why she's that sexually aggressive at this young age, that she probably has been touched or violated? No, I don't care nothing about that. Well, you will care when you go and do something to her. And since this is the way she been living, she already got gonorrhea, and now you got it. Oh, man, I stay strapped up. Stop it. So when we get over all of the fake shit about what they think they understand, and we start talking about the reality of situations and why it's important as a man that you ain't out here jumping on every flipper just because she giving it up, because God forbid you be the one dude who has the baby by her, or the one she put you on and say is his. Now you're in a whole nother situation. So we got to talk instead of saying, no, y'all shut up. Shut up and don't talk like that. Let them get it out because they want to quote rap songs. I'm back there smacking it from the back and da-da-da. Okay. And then what? And you got to know most of them are lying anyways.
Yep.
Well, you ain't the way you talking lets me know you ain't never even got none before. You see what I'm saying?
You're like, come here, man.
Right. But I would say that in front of the group. Like when you talking like that, it let me know you ain't never had no woman. Then everybody laugh like, oh, he bust you out. Now we talking. Now the communication's flowing. Pretty soon they saying some of everything and I'm just shooting it down. I'm not saying I changed their lives, but I'm saying you could tell the communication and the interaction from them changed when I was open and honest with them. I didn't have to get them details about when I was 17, this girl named Brenda used to live down the street. I didn't have to give them that. I spoke to them as a man who understood the complexity of male-female relationships. So, Kamar, like you said, Team Till will be on the show Monday.
That's right.
They'll be on the show Monday. And so you'll get all of this. I don't know how many brothers are volunteering to work with them.
Hey, and they was on the radio with Promise this morning, and they'll be on the radio on 105.7 in the morning again.
Okay.
Sam Collier and Ticey Gossi.
And they are the hosts of Call to Action podcast, which we have been on. So they'll be here Monday, the whole team. Randy Jones said it's not all about the act of sex. It's about the kids wanting to be loved and feel love. So they use sex as a way to feel love because they have no hope. Yeah, I mean, if that little girl, the only way she can get dudes to be nice to her is to, she got to learn that she's more valuable than that, though.
Damn.
Like if that's
that's what young people equate love to, is sex.
Yeah, well, and they don't understand that. Like, well, shit, you know what? We can't even expect children to understand what a lot of grown people don't even understand, which is you might think you want sex, but you really desire connection. Right. Like even with these boys that's out here doing this gang shit or shit like that, men want to. Everybody wants to feel connected to somebody, and because I remember somebody posted a post the other day, was like, why is men so loyal to they guy but not they girl and shit? And I'm like, well, first off, there's so many reasons, but from a biological perspective, the same oxytocin that a woman produces while she's nursing her child, men produce when they're doing team activities. And I said a lot of it comes, what they say, from evolution, because while women were more geared to raise the children and the men had to come together to hunt, protect the village and shit like that. So it was a way of promoting like team building, but we don't even understand things from a biological perspective. Like even makeup, I explained the other day that makeup is communication, and a lot of people throw it on and don't know what they're communicating. Western makeup is meant to imitate sexual arousal in white people. When you're sexually aroused, the area around your eyes darken, your lips darken and pout up, your cheeks get blushed. So a lot of times people put on makeup or do these things because that's what they feel is due for society, and don't even.
Hold on, what white people got to do with this now?
No, I'm saying because of Western. We get Western makeup. Okay. So in Africa, makeup is used to communicate as well. You usually communicate what tribe you from,
right.
Whether you're at a marrying age or if you're taken, shit like that. So in Europe or Westernized makeup, because back in the day, some of them were kind of pale and sickly, and nobody wants to be with a pale, sickly person because from an evolution perspective, you want strong genetics. So they would they would put on lipstick to emulate full pouty lips. They would put blush on their cheeks to emulate the blood that goes to your skin surface when you're sexually aroused. So a lot of people are putting on makeup to imitate sexual arousal and then are confused when they receive sexual advances. But it all goes back to not being taught that that's a form of communication, and are you aware of what you're communicating, and do you want to communicate that? But then also men ain't taught, when you around a woman when she's ovulating, there's pheromones kicking out that make you feel a certain way.
But hold on, real, because where I'm going with that is for a long time I've heard older women, and I had older relatives who would say to young girls, "You too young to have a face full of makeup." Like I know there are a lot of, my daughter wasn't walking around with makeup on when my wife would have been. She's like, "No, you ain't." I'm talking about lip gloss, everything, because close to what you're saying, we didn't want to put the wrong signal out. But we were very conscious of how we dressed her as well. You dress her like a little child. Her mama can't have the same outfit on because mama is a woman, and mama's a man. It's unfortunately getting harder and harder to give off that same energy.
And it's unfortunate that it's getting harder and harder for parents to find children clothes for children, because now even children's clothes are made up to look like grown people's clothes.
That's sick.
It gets hard.
My point was, I think people are proactive with the makeup. I think people do understand because what's the first thing an old woman say when you got a bunch of men? You look like a hooker. You look like a hoe.
But it ain't no old women around no more. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no old women around. They had day parties.
I think they subconsciously know it.
Day parties.
I think women nowadays subconsciously know that.
Yeah, that's what
you know what I mean. That's why they throwing it. That's why you see them all the time now throwing it on, because they figure they look better, they more attractive.
Big ass lashes.
Just the word attractive. You know what I'm saying? Attract people for, you know what I mean, the opposite sex, or someone for sex. So like you say, you know what I mean. Real is true. I totally agree with you.
It's like men with cologne. You just talking about pheromones.
Right.
As a man, when you put cologne on, that's some come to me, baby. Like it's like, because you what the main thing a man can appreciate is when a woman say, "Oh, you smell good." So it's the same. That's why what we're putting, children shouldn't be put in the place of adults, right? Is what I'm saying. Like You got to be careful when you doing a little girl hair. Her hairstyle should not emulate a grown woman's. Yeah. It should be a little girl. That's why I have barrettes. And don't get me wrong, I know some sickos out here who get turned on by that shit, but then that's more of a my pistol thing than anything else.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to talk.
Hold on, let me read this comment. Let me read this comment quick, Kamar. He said, "We broke. Ain't nothing to do but sex." These fake schools don't teach nothing. Sex in the black community and drugs and gangbanging is the fastest way to financial freedom for the black community or destruction.
Now, how do we change that dynamic? He should have a question, answer to how do we change that or start changing that.
Okay. Prostitution is the oldest profession in the world, in all cultures. Go ahead, Kamar.
No, I was saying, earlier when I was saying, I feel like, it's been misconstrued, like sex and love. Like young people, they feel like, sex is love. And I think that even comes from just the term of making love. You know what I mean? Like at an early age, our brain get warped into thinking that sex is making love, but no, you make love in everything except for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you make love, you create love, you build love. You know what I mean? It's not in the act of sex. Just in the act of sex, you creating.
I used to teach my son, for the cologne thing that you're talking about, that nobody should be able to smell your cologne but your woman. You just put on enough that where she gets close enough to you to smell it. Nobody else can smell your cologne. And because ain't nobody else got no business getting that close to you.
There you go. That's a good smell. Gonna make this nigga smell my cologne.
That's a good one.
Dion, what's popping, man? We ain't got that much time, so I don't need you to go on the
Come
Dion
on,
rant,
man. Last week we ran all the way, man.
No,
we ain't gonna come
Dion,
back to Monday, man.
You will go for.
I'm gonna call you personally then, so you can just sit on the phone and fall asleep with me. But, hey,
no Diddy, no Diddy.
What I was about to say, I agree with Rail though, and see, like I tell a lot of people, because when I was younger, I want to beat it up all the time. Nah, I ain't that. I can't go like I used to, So I tell people, man, the sex is only meant for reproduction. It ain't meant for nothing else. You understand? We took this sex and turned it into God knows what everybody be doing in their bed. It's only meant for reproduction. That's all it's meant for. And then, far as and I notice a lot of young ladies, and I had to tell my ex-girl this, don't sexualize your daughter. Don't have her dressed in a certain type of way. Like she was 14 years old, wearing Victoria's Secret. No, she too young to be wearing Victoria's Secret. A lot of women sexualize their daughters, and I see this every day on social media. They be like, I used to look like that when I was her. Hey, you never look like that. You a damn lie. You want to look like her. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all got two different genetics. She carry your DNA, but you don't look like her, And then so nowadays, like Real was saying with the as far as with the lipstick and stuff, yeah, and I tell a lot of women when they got on red lipstick, I said, do you know the image that you're putting off? That's really saying that you want to mate, because when, like Real was saying, when a woman goes through whatever he was saying, her lips become flush and they become red. So that's a sign that you want to mate. One little girl, my ex-girl daughter friend had some lip gloss. I said, listen, young lady, I said, back when I was growing up, we called that false gloss. Her mama got mad at me. She like, what man tells a little girl? I said, I'm trying to put her up on game. Just in case any of them niggas be like, ooh, you got that boss gloss on, she didn't know what a motherfucker talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just crazy out here. And I wanted to call about Diddy. Listen, I'm gonna ride with Diddy. I'm gonna ride with Kelly.
You want to talk about Diddy?
Yeah, no. I know y'all was talking about it though, but I just want to say, cause man, I get so tired of us as black people. Donald Trump said he was gonna grab them women by the pussy. Ain't one white person turned against him. Soon as we hear something bad about only reason I was mad at Bill Cosby because them was some ugly ass white women that he had. Like, goddamn, if you gonna rape somebody that's decent looking, I'm not mad. I wasn't mad at OJ. I still don't think he did it. I don't care what he say. Even if OJ say he did it, I don't think he did it. I don't care what nobody say. You know what I'm saying? So R. Kelly should be free. You know, that shit they go on and they, in they circle though. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, you know how many times, and I know everybody probably did it. We have met some young, or decent age. Not too young, but they're a little younger than us, and we probably have caught us a little hotel, or in Chicago, or maybe went down to Gary, or whatever you want to do. I'm just saying though, man. Hey.
Dion, listen. Ain't nobody went and got some young and went to no hotel, and you can't say we all went and did that. We ain't all go do that. We ain't did that.
You've been married forever.
You want to add legal age?
Don't act like I was neutered.
I ain't win either.
I wasn't messing with no young girls. I wasn't till I get married. I
wasn't there either. I wasn't there either.
No, I ain't talking about no young girls like that. I'm just saying though. Man, listen, man, niggas want to be sitting there. I know when I was 18, 19, 20, I pulled up to Washington. Rufus King, Riverside. Stop playing, man. Niggas need to stop lying,
listen,
man.
let me tell you something. Dion, let me tell you.
I was at the high school.
I can tell you this with a shadow of a doubt. Once I left Rufus King, I never pulled back up to meet no female ever. As a matter of fact, I went away to school and came home, and my homeboys was like, let's go to the King game. And the first thing I said is, I don't want to be around no high school ass broads. I want to go to the bar. I want to go to the bar. So I don't.
We all know.
I need you to wrap it up, Dion, because you gonna go in a different direction.
I ain't going in no direction. I ain't gonna lie about what I did, kid. I ain't doing it now because I'm 46 years old. And the killing part about it, right? The girls that was 15, 16 when I was 20, damn, they 40s now. You understand? So how was I molesting them, though? God damn it, we ain't number. If that's the case, I'll be molesting them now. My ex-girlfriend, 8 years younger than me. She's 38.
If you start messing with her when she was 10 and you was 18, you was dead ass wrong and you're a child molester.
No, I did not. Come on, Kim.
Why you bring it up? Yeah, Dion. We gotta close out, Dion. I'm about to get out of here.
I love you niggas, man. For real, man. I'm gone, man. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. Let's everybody be safe. Let's make it back Monday to do this shit all over again. I don't know how many homicides we up to so far, but I hope none of us make that list this year, next year, the year after that. Let's get us 40 acres and a mule, man. Let's get us 40 acres and a mule.
We good. Gotta love it. You gotta love Dion.
I can get with the 40 acres and the mule. I can get with that part of it.
Hey man, listen. Some of us are still on our journey, right?
I used to see them dudes spin the block when I was leaving.
I know, we know, yeah, but you can't say all of us done did it.
I never did
that.
Everybody
didn't do it.
I never did.
I used to look down.
They used to call it the high school check-in.
Right. I got another caller. Let me catch this caller before we go because I don't think he's called in before. Caller, you are live on Outlaw Radio. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's Frank Joe. So I wanted to answer buddy question at the bottom on the right there. He said, what can we do to fix that about the whole being broke for the whole community and stuff?
Okay.
We spend a lot of, as African Americans, we spend a lot of money, y'all know, on designer stuff and all of that. I ain't got the numbers right here in front of me. I just called in real quick, but it's up in the millions and billions. So what we need to do is we need centralized banking for a black community. So what we need to do is we need to create credit unions. We need to create credit unions. So, with credit unions, all that money is, is tax-free. Well, it's not tax-free, but, the taxes and all of that, we ain't got to pay in it. So once we do that, we buy up some land and stuff. And all we got to do is get, the black people who do already own businesses to stop putting their money in white banks. So that's simple. You feel me? That'll be a simple part. And all we really need to do is get people to come together to do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I ain't never called on no live or nothing like that. So I'm kind of nervous.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
So forgive me on that.
No. Shout out to you. I mean, we talk about economics on here all the time, and we talk about group economics, and that figure that you're talking about. I believe the last time we looked at it was in upwards of $2.5 billion. We are the consumers that keep things moving. Yeah, we are, whatever disposable income we have, we dispose of quickly, right? And that's why we say we don't want necessarily cash payments for reparations, because some of us will break our neck giving it right back overnight, right? Like
exactly.
So it has to be things that are structurally advantageous for us. So I do appreciate that. And we do have, which there's the 100th anniversary of the Columbia Savings and Loan, which is the only black bank still standing here in Milwaukee. My parents purchased their home through Columbia Savings and Loan in 1970. So there is some truth to collective economics as far as black people go. So shout out to you for that.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, but when it comes down to that though, also, I'm on the time frame, or
well, we wrapping up, but I mean, you got time to get yours off. I'm not gonna rush you off the phone, but like Dion will say goodbye and then still be talking for like 10, 15 more minutes. So
I got you.
Got to manage Dion.
Yeah, I got you. yeah. So I feel what you're saying, but I think on a bigger scale that we still not doing it enough.
Okay.
And it's absolutely room for us to make this a real possibility. Because what we really need in this country is counties and like cities and states and shit like that. So what we need is counties. So the only way we can build counties is making sure we putting our money in the right places. So I think, you know, all these platforms, we need to send out a message through social media as a unity. You know, everybody like to talk about their own subject. I think like once a week, all these big, you know, like Shannon Sharp, you know, World Star Hip Hop, they all need to share the same message for one day. So everybody talking about the same subject. So that's where we can get the progress rolling. But every day, that's our biggest problem. We ain't communicating. Everybody on their own thing, doing their own thing, worried about a whole bunch of other stuff.
That's dope.
That
man.
all can be worked out. But yeah.
No, I agree. I keep talking about the power of this black media, and if we don't cultivate it, it'll be gone with the wind. If we don't grab it and make it into an entity, it's gonna be over in 2 years, because eventually the podcast bubble will burst, right? And then they'll just be about who was really in this for informing people and communication purposes, as opposed to who wanted to be an entertainer and get likes and follows. So I definitely agree with you, man. So
exactly.
Shout out to you. Share the show, man. Share the show with your people, man. And then
absolutely,
next time, just hit it. Call back earlier, and then you can rant like Dion. I don't put time limits on people. Yeah, you all good.
Yeah, I'll have my information ready and stuff, so I won't be so nervous next time. But I like to look at my information so I ain't just spurting out stuff. So
all good.
I was trying to avoid that.
Don't worry about it.
I appreciate it, my man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and love. All right. Shout out to Everett Gransberry in the chat room. He said, great evening, brothers.
Peace.
Shout out to you, my brother. Earl Henning. Jail time is what Dion was talking about. Yeah, that Dion. He's something else. We are Kush Society, North America. Said he's wild. Talking about Dion. Somebody had told me about a platform to check out. Let me see if I can catch that before I go. So many comments. I'm gonna have to go through the comments to see if I can find it. Eon C. Jordan, shout out to Eon. He said he's wild as hell. Yeah, we know Dion. Dion is 100% the north side of Milwaukee. He always say born in, what he say, shy born, Milwaukee raised. Yeah, he's the voice of the streets up here. Everett says working folks with an IRA should take their money and move it to a self-directed IRA. We need to control how our money is invested. I would love, like this event we have coming up. Kamar, do you have anybody who's a financial kind of like expert type of person that could come and present on that? Because somebody like Everett who's talking about IRAs and stuff, I think that would be good for black people to be able to walk into that too and say, I didn't know this shit.
That would be good.
Yeah. So Everett, if you can get with Kamar, man, because the purpose of this is networking in the first place, man. And that's what we should be doing. Shout out to you, Randy. He said, good show as always. Okay, so that is actually Frank Joe. We are Kush Society, North America. Kush Society. All right, so we get ready to close this thing down. Kamar, it's Wednesday. We won't be back on until next week. I keep telling y'all want to see another show, hit the Cash App. and shout out to the people who do, because I do get people who help, and I'm in the process of changing the way this all looks.
Oh, that's fly.
I gotta, my wife and I have had some Once my wife started conceptualizing, something gonna happen, right? And once she says, I think you should do this, it's almost like her saying, this is what you're gonna do. So we're working to kind of change the scenario. And I want to get to a point where at least once a month, we can all sit down and do this live as opposed to virtual. It's a bunch of different ways to do it. And so that's all in the making. But if you want to assist in that, because I need to upgrade a camera, I need to get some other stuff, hit the Cash App, man. It's running across the bottom of the screen. Or if you have a business, I do sponsorships, EPU, Eagle Eyes, Security. A bunch of people have purchased sponsorships, and we try to push their businesses and whatever. So let's do that. So Kamar, what you got going for the rest of the week?
I'll be at the House of Vitality tomorrow, Friday, and then Saturday we will be open, but I'll be at the Winter Farmers Market, and then I'll be at the House of Vitality to close the day out.
Okay, dope. Y'all support Black business. Real, you got anything shaking special this weekend?
Nah, just playing catch up now that I'm back mobile. You know, I had to take the kids to get some clothes, getting ready for springtime. Still working on my upper unit. I should be ready to bottle up my next batch of wine within the next 2 weeks. I'll be re-upping on my CBD products, getting ready for the Wellness Festival with Kamar. Also, just doing my emotional intelligence. I outlined it. Now I got to start putting them on slides. Just in case there is an opportunity to do a slideshow.
You definitely can.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to be ready for whatever. And then everybody can catch me on TikTok, Higher Frequency, HIGHERFREAKUENCY. That's the name on TikTok. That's my public Facebook page as well, where I share methods on emotional intelligence, managing your emotions, and shadow work, meditation, breath work, all the things that we can do naturally to manage our mental health and wellness.
Okay, and shout out to the Juice Lady, because I seen her in the chat room. I know she said she was feeling under the weather. If she caught the stomach thing I had last week, it's all bad. I'm a soldier, so I fight through and stay hurt. But yeah, it's out here. Now, my brother Vince, I'm glad you came on. You know, you've been on, I don't know, you've been around. You like I said, I don't even have to do no fancy introduction for you no more, because you're just like a part of the show. But I know that there's a method to your madness. I know you don't move without having a point to what you're doing. So with this school thing that you're working on, what would you like to see ultimately happen here in order to improve this situation?
I think we had it once in our community, and the Hmongs are demonstrating it, is that we have to figure out a way, even if we're going to smaller these schools, make smaller schools, we have to figure out a way to make them community-based, because we have to get back to the point where in our communities, we know each other, we're allowed to help each other, and the men can mentor the men and be role models. All of that's been taken away because we've been spread and scattered. So somehow we have to get back to community-based schooling. And I think one of the people talk a lot about COVID. I think, in my personal opinion, as far as I'm on rail on this homeschooling, I think it was the best opportunity we ever had to be able to teach our kids our history. And the only other things that they need to know is economics, math, and reading. We could do that at home, but most importantly is to teach them our true history. Everybody else understands their nationality and where they came from. We don't understand that, and they don't teach it in our school. They teach their history. We need to know our history. So the Hmong community is building the school system around their culture and their history. We need to do the same thing, because we are just as important as any other culture in the whole world. We're the most important because we've done everything, we built everything, and everything that you see came from us.
There you go. Shout out to Vince Tony for coming through. Right. I think it's very important that we understand that all of these are solutions, but solutions can be turned into policy. And I think the one thing we keep using this word solidarity, and we watch every other community do it. I don't hear them crying about what the white man's doing to them like we do. Don't get me wrong, there's enough blame to go around, because God knows the white man has been one evil SOB to us in this country. But at this point, we are in a situation where we can grasp the tail of the comet and go along for the ride. I'm not talking about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps because we ain't got no boots a lot of time. But we got to reach higher. You have to start faster when you're behind. You know, that last dude in the race, you got to run faster than the dude up front to catch up to him. For some reason, we're subjugated. A lot of it's our own doing. Some of this stuff we can deal with. And I feel like once we start dealing with these systematic issues or these systemic issues that we have, it'll be easier for us to fight the system because we'll be unified and we won't be scattered. They're not worried about us right now because they know they can throw anything at us and we'll just break apart instantaneously and be divided about it. And they laugh about the shit. I mean, people say, oh, the white man is scared of us. Oh, the white man is envious of us. I think the white man just laughs at us because he watches us chase our tail over and over and over and over without ever stopping. So I put the onus with our community, with our kids, with our schools, with our economic situation, with our morality situation, squarely on the shoulders of us. We have to do what we have to do to get our community back in line. And a lot of that is dismissing a lot of the bullshit that we receive along the way. Listen, it's okay to be gay, but right now is the time to invest in heterosexuality because it takes a man and a woman to make a child, right? And you can go all different kinds of ways you want in terms of I'll get insemination and I'll get a sperm donor. But let's get back to the natural way of doing things. Man, woman, child, family, father, mother, child, grandchild, great-great-grandchild, lineage, legacy. We've thrown those words away. For I got 5 kids by 6 women. Don't ask me how you do that, but it's possible, right? In the meantime and in between time, man, in a world where you could be anything, be a person who cares. Because God forbid you become the type of person whose criticism of the community outweighs your contribution. Because we all collectively know if that's the type of person you are, you're a coon. I see y'all Monday, man. Vince, hit me up, man. Peace and love.
Peace.